Taking care of a baby today is so different than when I had you.
But Mom, you did great with me.
Thanks, son. But I put you on your stomach to sleep.
Right. But now we know that babies should always be placed on their backs to sleep, for naps and at night, to reduce the risk of sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS.
You also slept with blankets and toys in your crib.
True. But now we know to keep everything out of the crib except for my sweet baby girl. No blankets, pillows, or other soft or loose items.
Daddy's going to teach Nana all the ways to keep you safe while you sleep. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
For more tips on safe sleep for babies, visit safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. That's safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
Imagine battling cancer and actually beating it. You feel like you've just come out of the woods, only to discover you're about to go over another cliff. Hi, I'm Kathy Bates, and as a 2-time cancer survivor, I can tell you nothing prepared me for the challenge of lymphedema, a chronic disease often brought on by cancer treatment that compromises the lymphatic system and leads to a lifetime of severe swelling and pain. Lymphedema, LE, affects more Americans each year than AIDS, Parkinson's, MS, muscular dystrophy, and ALS combined. Yet with proper treatment, it can be managed or even prevented. That's why I urge everyone facing a cancer diagnosis to be your own best advocate. Discuss LE with your doctor before undergoing surgery. With patients and doctors working together, we can learn and live. Learn more at lymphaticnetwork.org.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ and on your 253 stations.
It's time to get up and get your day started.
Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker!
It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well this early Friday. Greg Gaston, Zach Boyd, Eli off again today. We are broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Summer is here. All you have to do is walk out your door and you know it's summer. Hot, sweltering. Everything you need to cool down this summer. Pools, spas, all kinds of great stuff at Family Leisure. Check them out, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. It's the Friday, July 12th, 2024 edition of the program. But should be a pretty busy weekend in the world of sports, although next week things slow down a bit, despite the Grizzlies starting tonight, participating in Las Vegas in the Summer League. You got the All-Star break, but you do have the All-Star game on Tuesday. The Home Run Derby is on Monday. Next week is the Open Championship from Royal Troon. You got the Scottish Open this week, Wimbledon wrapping up, soccer, the Euro Cup final. So a gambit of sports, right? Things you may like, things you may not like, but it's all happening here this time of the year. And before too long, the opening of NFL camps, followed by the opening of the college football camps. Football right around the corner. 75 degrees currently. It's going to get up to 94 today. A mixture of clouds and sun during the morning. It'll give way to cloudy skies this afternoon, but not cloudy in the sense of rain's coming. So that's good. A little bit of overcast, a little bit of clouds will help, I hope, with the heat and humidity, but I'm not a meteorologist. Tonight, 73, partly cloudy skies, and your weekend looks to be hot, sunny. 96 for a high Saturday, 95 for a high on Sunday. First hour of the program is brought to you by the great folks at the Big Green Egg. Coming up on the program today, John Varlas in his usual spot, 725. At 8:05, we'll talk with the voice of the Redbirds, Alex Coyle. 8:25, Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal. And then at 9:05, Michael Wallace will join us, I believe, from Vegas, as the Grizzlies have moved on from Salt Lake City after going 1-2 to Las Vegas, where they will begin action tonight in the NBA 2K25 Summer League. We'll also have 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation, give you a chance to win a great prize package. That'll be at around 9:30. Zach, how are you this sunny Friday morning?
Oh, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm a little tired, I'll be honest with you. It's all hit me, I believe, the jet lag, getting up early again, the heat and humidity. It's all coming to a head, but I'm ready to go. I'm fired up for the next 3 hours, and then I could certainly crash after that. So we got a couple of things right off the bat that we'll get to here in a moment, including another sizzling performance on the bump by Paul Skeens, the sensational rookie for the Pittsburgh Pirates out of LSU. And the ESPYs took place last night. I don't care that much about the ESPYs. Some of you may. But there was sad news yesterday, as it was reported, that Monty Kiffin passed away. At the age of 84, one of the great defensive minds in the history of football. He passed away in Oxford. Of course, the son of Ole Miss football coach Lane Kiffin, the longtime NFL defensive coordinator, made his mark at several stops, but specifically in Tampa with the Buccaneers, creating that Tampa 2 defense, the architect of that formidable defense with great players that played for Monty, well respected around the football world, both professionally, collegiately, and his latter years spending time with his son and living in Oxford. So our condolences, our thoughts and prayers to everybody in Oxford and the Ole Miss family, and specifically head coach Lane Kiffin and his family after the loss of one of the great defensive minds of all time, Monty Kiffin. Grizzlies tonight will take on the Sacramento Kings. 5 o'clock Central Time tip from Las Vegas. They'll play 4 games in Vegas. They play their second game on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, and then we'll play Wednesday and Thursday before wrapping it up. Grizzlies did add a couple of players to their roster, a guy by the name of Lucas Williamson and Drew Pember. It seems like everybody from the Salt Lake City roster is still with the team, so it's curious why they added 2, but it does make me wonder just how much we'll see of Edey. Maybe they'll slow down G.G. Jackson as well, who played a lot in Salt Lake City. Laravia had a little bit of an ankle issue and did not play in that last game, maybe the last 2 games in Salt Lake City. And who knows what the schedule is for Jalen Wells and for Cam Spencer. But as far as Edey is concerned, Zach, you said you think he'll play in 2. I think for sure he plays in a game. I would expect he plays tonight unless the ankle injury, which is not a serious injury, he played on it, lingers. But I know all eyes will be on Edey, one of the players that certainly fans want to see in Vegas and those watching it on television.
Yeah, and it's gonna be fun to kind of see another set of teams that these young guys play up against, especially Edey. I'm really curious because I don't know who's on Sacramento Summer League that makes me jump up and say, okay, like this is actually a true test. But nevertheless, like I'm not sure they're gonna be at the Pavilion. More than likely.
Well, they got the Cox Pavilion, right,
Yeah.
and then they have the Thomas and Mack. So they play in 2 different arenas. Unless it's a new name now, might be a sponsor name. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I can understand if the Grizzlies want to shut him down and not play him. I can understand that. But you can't put him in bubble wrap. You can get hurt in practice. You can get hurt walking from the airport to the bus. I mean, whatever the case may be. And we saw some great stuff in his first game, but he's not done. He's not ready to go. Camp is going to be pivotal for Edey. But again, it does look like that's the direction they're going in. Could they still bring in a veteran and then kind of ease Edey in? I guess, but I think it's Edey. And so the camp is going to be pivotal for him. he plays in another game or two in Vegas, that's fine. If he doesn't, that's fine as well. So again, 5 o'clock tonight, Grizzlies and the Kings. By the way, the men's U.S. Olympic basketball team will play their second exhibition game on Monday. They'll take on Australia in Abu Dhabi. United States winning that first game with a really good defensive effort, really good second half, beating the Canadian Olympic team. Major League Baseball, Paul Skeens. Wow. Paul Skeens has a chance to do something that hasn't been done in a long time. Win a Cy Young and Rookie of the Year in the same season. Yesterday, for the Pirates, facing the Brewers, 7 innings, no hit ball. Gives up no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts in 99 pitches. And then they pull him. The reliever proceeds to give up a couple hits, breaking up the no-hitter, but the Pirates do prevail 1-0. Paul Skeens could be the National League All-Star starter on Tuesday. Hasn't been decided yet, hasn't been announced yet. Here's his first half numbers. Remember, he's a rookie. First half of the season, 11 starts, 6-0, 1.90 earned run average, 0.92 whip, 66 and a third innings, just 12 walks, and Zach, he's averaging 12.1 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's Cy Young. That's Rookie of the Year. That's All-Star starting pitcher for National League. Again, not announced, but he deserves all of it. He has been that good. Plus, he has a very attractive girlfriend who's very famous in her own right. Paul Skeens he's lived up to the billing and then some. But here's the question. Pulling the guy with the no-no. We've talked to Ben Johnson of the Redbirds about this, about pulling guys in this day and age of analytics, of numbers. The days of the rubber arms are over with. 99 pitches. It's not like he threw 140 pitches. The guy has a chance for a no-hitter. That's the second time this year. He had a no-hitter in his second outing in the bigs. Through 6 innings, they pulled him. Okay, but that was only his second outing. All right. I remember saying on the show, all right, I'll give you that one. This is now mid-season. 99 pitches. 99. And again, it's that 100 number is so arbitrary because these pitchers are warming up in between innings, throwing pitches.
Yeah.
Warming up before the game. There's a lot more pitches than 99 they have thrown. So what is the exact number? The analytics drive me up a wall. This guy probably would have mowed down the Brewers and thrown a no-hitter. But there you go. If he doesn't have an issue with it, the teammates don't have an issue with it, I don't know about the fans in Pittsburgh. They got the win. Then I shouldn't have an issue with it.
Yeah, it's almost like Little League. Like once you get up to a certain amount of pitches, if you face that one batter, when you exceed that number, you just got to finish off that batter, then you go take your seat.
Yeah, specifically in the Little League World Series, which will be coming up next month.
Yeah,
in Williamsport. Yeah, they have the pitch limitation. You're exactly right. Got to yank the guy. From the NFL, the Titans yesterday, sneaky, possibly. It's definitely sneaky, under the radar, but possibly a good signing. It may not be. Jamal Adams, does he still have something left in the tank? 1-year deal, terms not released as far as the numbers. Past 4 seasons with Seattle, but was released March 5th. Jamal Adams, if he still has a little bit something left, that's low cost for the Titans and could be rewarded in the end if Adams can find a little bit of that old magic. He was a stalwart for years. So the Titans go out there and they make that move. Other NFL news, Bill Belichick is joining Inside the NFL. He'll be alongside Ryan Clark and 2 of his former players, Chad Johnson and Chris Long. Belichick will also make weekly appearances on the Pat McAfee Show and the Manning Cast on Monday Night Football.
I never took Belichick as a personality.
Nor did I. And look, his knowledge is unmatched for the most part, knowledge of the game. But he has to show personality. This guy cannot be a curmudgeon on the air. He has to show some sort of personality. So I'll be curious to see if he does. But he has been hired, and he's been hired by 3 different outlets for his expertise. Also, Fox announcing their NFL broadcast teams. Again, no surprise here. Tom Brady installed as the number 1 analyst. Will work alongside Kevin Burkhardt. And that means Greg Olson drops to number 2. He and Joe Davis will be the 2 team for Fox NFL games. And then you have other combinations like Adam Amin and Mark Sanchez, Kevin Kugler, and Daryl Moose Johnston, who also runs the UFL, the United Football League. You have Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Chris Myers, and Mark Schlereth, the Fox NFL broadcast teams. So I wanted to get to this topic here, and then actually I'll save it for a few moments from now, and then I want to actually bring that up when John joins us. And also going on that John will talk about is the Ed Murphy Classic, which is one of the biggest track and field events in the States, maybe even around the world. This thing gets bigger and bigger every year with the Olympians that are competing. Started yesterday. We'll continue through tomorrow. We'll get the details, maybe some news on action from yesterday from Johnny Varlas, who will join us in our next segment. Do you watch the ESPYs?
No.
I used to watch the ESPYs. I don't watch them anymore. I don't care. These great athletes, and, I care about great athletes, but patting each other on the back, that's fine and dandy. They get a little political now. Serena Williams was the MC. She was the host, rather. And, she's trying to throw one-liners out there. She looked good. She looked really good. But they had the girl from LSU, is it? That's the rapper?
It's Flage.
She's good.
Yeah.
She's really good. I mean, look, it's not my cup of tea, music-wise, but I know when something's good and when something's not good. She's good. She's really good. But some of the award winners, in case you care, Best Athlete Men, Patrick Mahomes. Best Athlete Women, Asia Wilson. Best Record-Breaking Performance, Caitlin Clark. Best Breakthrough Athlete, Juju Watkins from USC Women's Basketball. Some of the big awards and this is what I care about. Probably the only thing that I care about anymore about the ESPYs is the money raised for the Jimmy V Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
The Jimmy V Award for Perseverance, Dawn Staley. By the way, I still expect the Memphis women to play South Carolina this year, but I'm not sure what the situation is now that they've already announced. Is it UConn that's coming here? Tennessee's coming.
I know Louisville is coming.
It's Louisville, not UConn. Louisville, Tennessee. But I still think something's going to happen with South Carolina. It may not be. It may be an exhibition game. I don't know, but I think something still could happen with that because I know they're originally going to be on the schedule. But Dawn Staley, Jimmy V Award for Perseverance, Arthur Ashe Award for Courage, Steve Gleason. And I saw clips of that this morning. Very emotional. I was at Mardi Gras, and one of the parades I saw came through was the New Orleans Saints, and Steve Gleason was up there at the front of the parade in his chair, and just with ALS, and it's heartbreaking. The Pat Tillman Award for Service, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. He's done a lot for, he's a humanitarian, and I guess that's why he won the award, but I know that was a little bit controversial leading in to the actual event last night. The Muhammad Ali Sports Humanitarian Award went to the Maui surfing community. Of course, the community of Maui, which I've been to a couple times now, besieged by all those fires, and now they're rebuilding. Sports Humanitarian Team of the Year, the Angel City Football Club. Not familiar with it. But anyway, that's the ESPYs for those who care about it. I don't anymore to the extent of watching it. I don't sit down and make it appointment television. All right, last thing, and then we'll take our first break. John will join us on the other side.
I want to throw out Sierra did the opening performance.
She did. I saw that, and then I turned it off. Not because of her. I just moved on and watched something else. But she did. Russell Wilson's wife.
Yeah.
She's a looker.
Of course.
She's like Beyonce light. She's not as good as Beyonce, and she's not as pretty as Beyonce. Is that fair?
She's like Beyonce got to be in her own separate category.
Right.
Sierra,
especially for you. Queen Bee's in her own category for you. I know that.
I mean, I think as you know, as Beyonce keeps breaking records, I think she just need to be in her own category.
I agree. I think there are a couple. I mean, I think Beyonce's in her own category. Taylor Swift's in her own category. Then everybody else, you could fall into place.
Yeah.
From the Adeles of the world to the Celine Dion's to obviously Ciara and others. But yeah, I would agree with that. So this last thing I wanted to get into, Stephen Hunter. Do you remember Stephen Hunter?
The basketball guy?
Yes. Played at DePaul. And played for a little bit with your Memphis Grizzlies. Do you remember that?
I do remember his name.
All right. So Stephen Hunter wrote on social media via Outkick a vicious retort to the Lakers, the LeBron/Bronny situation. Stephen Hunter, I had no idea. I don't know. Is he a media member? Whatever the case may be. But Stephen Hunter penned this. Said, for those that don't know, late second-round picks don't get guarantees, especially before Summer League. Typically, late second-round picks don't get 4-year guaranteed roster spot deals either. And that's what we talked about yesterday on the show. This wasn't earned, I'm sorry. And it's an egregious abuse of power from LBJ and Rich Paul. It's a slap in the face to all of the kids out there who work their A's off to get to the league. It's sneaky Hollywood-esque, like this, that turns a lot of people off about LeBron. This is just another example of what they be talking about right now when you try to like them, LeBron and Paul, I guess. This is why most people prefer Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant over him, because you know at least MJ or Kobe going to be straight shooters. Trust me, MJ could have gotten one of his sons in the league if he chose to abuse his power like that. Not taking anything away from Bronny, nor am I upset at Bronny. Just know that this is a manipulation of our league and the integrity of what it truly takes to get there. Thoughts?
Can we stop this? Like, I'm already tired of it.
You tired of it?
I'm tired of it. Because if that's the case, then a lot of these front offices needs to stop by hiring their sons and daughters in these front offices positions.
There's a lot of nepotism in the world, period. Not just in basketball, not just in sports. But here's the thing. There's not too many people bigger than LeBron James in the world. That name, that person, that figure, that sports figure, that just man. And I hear what you're saying. It's not going away. It's just revving up because we got a season still to be played.
Exactly. And then again, what father doesn't want to play with his son or wants to be around his kid? Like,
do you think, though, as a father, and you're not a father, I am a father, you should do anything within rules and laws to advance your son or daughter, even if it is what they deem nepotism, even if that son or daughter doesn't deserve that, even if it takes away a job from somebody else?
I believe in having a person to be qualified for the position.
Do you believe Bronny's qualified to get a 4-year guaranteed deal, picked 55th overall, for a guy that scored 4 points a game or whatever it was, maybe a little bit more, off the bench at USC in 1 year, which was less than thrilling?
Agree. But the thing is, the Bucks drafted that AJ kid from France, and from overseas in Australia. He only had 2 points per game.
Maybe they saw a lot of potential. Do people really see the potential in Bronny?
I think Bronny can shoot the ball really well, especially from high school. He shot the ball really well in high school. It's just in college he had the heart condition that set him back throughout the whole training camp portion of college.
So you think it's the health? You think it's health what's held him back? I mean, Ashton Hardaway shot the ball really well in the same team, Sierra Canyon.
Yeah,
came here to Memphis and didn't shoot the ball well.
I think it was just health related because he didn't have time to adjust to the college game, unlike his teammates.
All right, fair enough. I want to get the comments of John Varlas. We'll do that after our first time out. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. It's a simple call away. Just dial up Brandon McCullough, the owner of the company, at 901-438-5084. Tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings, and he will take care of you. You can also go online to find out more about them at newroofmemphis.com. They offer financing with different plans and options to choose from, including a 6, a 12, even an 18-month same as cash option. They'll work with your insurance company or out of pocket. They do residential and commercial roofing, so business owners, property managers, obviously homeowners. If you have a leak or any other roofing problem, don't wait until this becomes a major migraine for you. Nip it in the bud. Call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection, licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. You get a 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof. All their work, satisfaction guaranteed. They do carpentry work, exterior painting. They can replace gutters, put up fencing, siding, rotten wood repair, whatever you can't do yourself. Call the experts. Quality work at a very good price. Locally owned and operated, Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. Call Brandon, 901-438-5084. Tell him I sent you, or go online to newroofmemphis.com. Just underway on a Friday, this is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Maybe you've driven by Sunrise on Jefferson or Sunrise East on Poplar and seen the full parking lot and thought you didn't want to have to wait forever for your breakfast or lunch. Well, here's the thing. At both Sunrise locations, their goal is to get you your order fresh and made just for you in 5 minutes or less. Sometimes they may not meet that goal, but the important thing is at Sunrise, they're trying to, because Sunrise only hires people that actually care about the customers. Whether it's breakfast or lunch, Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise on Poplar are doing their very best to give you the very best.
Hi, everyone. Broadcaster and ER physician Dr. Jerry Punch here. We all know about the speed of sound, but have you ever thought about the sounds of speeding? If you drive over the speed limit, there are lots of sounds that you might hear. You could hear the sound of your vehicle crashing, the sound of first responders desperately trying to save you. You could even hear the sound of people crying at a funeral. Because if you drive over the speed limit, you could do damage that's beyond repair. One way or another, speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is an ACUSA church located in Midtown Memphis. Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. In better shape this morning on I-40 East coming over from West Memphis across the Hernando de Soto Bridge than what we were yesterday. Now, it has increased with a little bit more volume out here in the last 15, 20 minutes on 55 coming up through DeSoto County up through South Haven as that traffic continues to build southbound over here on Austin P Highway, getting up on that ramp there to I-40. Havenly Showers, your curbless shower specialist. Transform your bathroom with a tub to curbless shower conversions. Log on today, havenlyshowers.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Morning on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 7:28 the time. It is Friday. You know what that means. Time for John Varlas.
It's time for Greg and Eli's weekly visit with John Varlas of the Daily Memphian. Check out John's prep sports coverage and much more at dailymemphian.com. John is brought to you by Shoot 360 Memphis, where pros and preps go to get their shot on. Shoot 360 Memphis. Now here's John Varlas with Greg and Eli.
He is the award-winning Daily Memphian reporter, but so much more. He is John Varlas. You can follow him on Twitter at John Varlas. He's on with us each and every Friday, most of the time in studio, like is the case today. Mr. Varlas, how are you?
I'm doing great, and yeah, I'm always going to be here with you unless I'm trotting around the globe like you are, Mr. Around the World in 80 Days. Greg Gaston, look at you, fresh from the continent. How was Europe?
It was fantastic.
Good.
It really was the longest vacation I've ever taken. Normally it's a week. This one was nearly 2 weeks.
That's
Felt
awesome.
like I was going for a month.
Yeah.
Went to 5 different countries. So and soccer, I know it's one of your favorite sport you cover. They're crazy over there. They're rabid over there. So yeah, I saw a lot of that. Didn't go to matches per se, but was around the event, being in Germany where the Euro Cup is taking place. So yeah, great stuff there. Before we dive into soccer, we'll talk a little 901 FC as well. We have to talk about your sponsor. That's Shoot 360.
Yeah,
Memphis.
Shoot 360, the best place in town where the preps and pros to get their shot on. They've the brand new facility in Cordova is now up and running, and they've got the old facility there in Collierville on 85 Market Street. And the good thing about Shoot 360 is you can have a membership to either location or both if you so desire. I mean, and at both places you'll get the same access to the same high quality technology, the same analytical data that will track your shot, help you get better in shooting, arc, depth, all the things that go into a successful basketball shot. Plus they have passing bays, dribbling bays, and they've got the old fashioned stuff that old heads like I know, like weight training and coaching. So you get a great combination of everything, the new and the old at Shoot 360. Call them at 901-316-5500. It's the best place I know where you can enhance your basketball skills, and they will get you right. 901-316-5550, Collierville or Cordova. Shoot 360 Memphis.
Supposed to be the slow time of the year in sports, and I guess technically it is. But there's a lot of topics I want to get to, John. So let me jump right into this. I know you were listening coming in. I mentioned to Zach, Stephen Hunter. And I understand Stephen Hunter is not Charles Barkley or Magic Johnson or some big-name Hall of Famer saying this. But he penned this, just lambasted LeBron James and Rich Paul and the whole Bronny James situation, although saying not directly he has an issue with Bronny, but just the whole nepotism situation that they abuse their power. Do you agree with Stephen Hunter?
I pretty much do. Yeah, and it factors into and another element of it, Greg. Is the whole media perspective of it. Bronny James had his summer league debut a couple of nights ago, and you get your alerts on your phone when he makes a layup, right? So one
alert, right?
Well, Well, I guess you got 2 because he scored 4 points. But I mean, and there's the thing: it's nothing against Bronny James, and his story, Greg, is actually, if you dive into just the story aspect of it, is really a cool story. He overcame this heart issue, and now he's, I'm assuming he's 100% healthy, and so that that in and of itself is a really good story. But it's just all this ancillary nonsense that's going to surround him the whole year. And then you have his coach, JJ Redick, trying to tinkle on our legs and tell us that it's raining, by saying that, he earned this. Well, I have no doubt that he's a hard worker, but come on, Greg.
It's a bunch of BS, right?
Right. He did. I mean, the kid was a McDonald's All-American, Greg. He was second team All-Conference in his high school league. So it's like, what are we doing here? I mean, does he have potential? Maybe. I don't know. My guess is he never makes much of a significant NBA contribution. So I guess my thing is just let's call it what it is. LeBron James wanted his son to be on the Lakers. And that's what happened. LeBron James is pulling the strings. The owner, Jeannie Buss, doesn't seem to have a problem with that. They got his coach in there now, JJ Redick, his guy, his podcast partner. So, I mean, let's just at least be transparent with what it is. And I think at least if you do that, people would, be willing to say, okay, man, maybe we don't like this. Maybe it stinks, but, at least they're honest about it. And that's what they're doing. And I think people can get behind that at least. Just don't try to shade it and color it and position it in a way that it's not, because that's where people get upset when they feel like their intelligence is being insulted.
I'm totally in agreement with you. I also understand where Zach is coming from, saying, no, let's get beyond this, but it's not going away anytime soon because we got a whole season in front of us.
No, because it's not going to go away because ESPN's got to drive that hype train.
That's true.
And so, no, it's not going to go away. I mean, we get to mid-season, we're going to have these big, long think pieces, should if the Lakers, let's say the Lakers lose.
Should Bronny be an all-star with his dad?
Let's say they go on they lose 4 out of 5 games or whatever. Should Bronny James be getting more playing time to help the Lakers out of their skid? Next on First Take. That's
we're going to max contract.
We're going to get that. We are going to get that, and it's not fair to him, and it's certainly going to I think turn off a good segment of the basketball viewing public because
it's not his fault.
It's not his fault. I know. Be clear on that. Right. It's not his fault. It's not. And to be clear, once again, he's got a good story to tell. But we're not going to tell his story. We're just going to do all this foolishness. I guess as long as he's in the league.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. By the way, since I haven't been here, I haven't gotten your thoughts on the whole deal with Zach Edey. Edey goes 9th overall. Grizzlies tried to move up, according to reports, but they get the guy. They're happy with him. He performs very admirably in his first game, sits out the next 2. They start tonight in Vegas. 4 games max. How much would you play Zach Edey? And then, what are your thoughts about Edey so far in a very small sample size?
Well, I was delighted that they drafted him. I mean, I've been pro Zach Edey for like 2 years now. I don't see, Greg, how you could have watched this kid dominate college basketball at Purdue and not thought that he would have the skill set to translate to at least some kind of role in the NBA. Not saying he's going to be a superstar, not saying he's going to even be rookie of the year or anything like that. I just don't I just don't know with his hands, his ability around the basket, his ability to rebound, set picks. And he's not unathletic. I mean, he's a big dude, but he can get after it. And
he's not as stiff,
right? He's not as stiff, and he's got a tough streak and a bit of a dog in him, and I think there's lots to like about Zach Edey. So I was delighted that they drafted him. And the thing about him too, Greg, is they're not bringing him in to like change the fortunes of the franchise. They're just bringing him in to supplement, kind of what they've already got. And I think he can do that. I really, really do. I think what we saw in that first summer league game was extremely promising. me personally, if he's totally healthy, I'd like to see him get in, at least another game or two in there, just for the continuity of it, and just for the, just for getting the reps, and I think that's important. I wouldn't shut him down entirely, unless I totally had to, and I hope they don't do that. I mean, I think it's important to get some reps and get some development, and just continue to get your feet wet and get more comfortable, and hopefully we'll see that.
I agree. I agree with you, but I wouldn't have a problem though if they did.
I wouldn't have a problem with it either, and the Grizzlies are notoriously conservative about injuries.
Sure
It seems like they take way much longer than they should to get these guys on the court.
Would you be after last season though?
Well, yeah, but but like with the whole Steven Adams thing, I mean, he never came back. I mean,
do we even know he's in Houston? I don't even know.
It's weird. I mean, Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bain, all these long-term injuries.
True.
Marcus Smart, they just get injured, and it just seems like they stay injured for a really, really long time, and maybe they actually are, but or maybe they're just taking it really slow. But no, I mean, and really, it's and too, Greg, it's fun to watch Zach Edey play basketball. I mean, you watch him play in Purdue. I mean, you're an old school guy like me. You want to see your big man get down there and do big man things, and post up, dominate inside, and that's what he did in college. And the role will be different in the NBA, but you'll still get to see Zach Edey do his thing, and that's fun. I mean, it's summertime. Give us Grizzlies fans a reason to be excited, and right now, Zach Edey is that reason. Can he be the piece that that elevates this franchise, to where they want it to be a little bit.
Well said. And he's exactly what we all thought they needed, is a guy who does the dirty work. He has a mean streak, like you said, set screens. John Morant's going to love it.
Yeah.
Can be on the receiving end of the alley-oops. Does move pretty well for a guy that's 7'4". So, yeah, so far, so good. And we'll see if he plays tonight. I would expect that, unless, again, that toe deal or whatever it was, that he ended up staying in the game when it looked like he was going to go back to the locker room in game one of the 3 exhibition games in Salt Lake City. Unless it's lingering, I would imagine he'll play tonight. Again, they'll take on the Kings 5 o'clock in Las Vegas.
Greg, if John Morant stays healthy and stays on the floor this year playing with Zach Edey, I mean, he's got a chance to average 10, 11 assists along with the 26, 27 points per game as well. He's got a chance to really, really be a productive player, I think, working with Zach Edey this year.
I agree, and Edey doesn't have to score, but just by the sheer hugeness of his body and the way he plays around the rim, he'll have opportunities for alley-oop dunks, for tip-ins. And he has a good little hook shot, too.
Yeah.
It's not like he's limited to just dunking the basketball. He's not going to go out and shoot threes, but he has certainly got some moves in the paint. All right. When we come back, John, let's talk about this big track and field event, the Ed Murphy Classic, that's going on, and perhaps there are people out there that don't know what's going on, and it is huge, one of the biggest in the country. We'll talk about that. We'll get some soccer talk in and some other things as John will continue with us here on Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces: concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 91524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:45 is the time. Greg Gaston, Zach Boyd, John Barlas. Eli off today. So, John, the Ed Murphy Classic got underway yesterday over at the University of Memphis. Will continue through tomorrow. Got the event, the pole vaulters down on Beale Street. It's a huge event. It's getting bigger and bigger. And I'm not so sure that sports fans are even in tune with what this is. They probably know to some extent if you're a sports fan. Fringe sports fans probably like, what are you talking about, Ed Murphy Classic? Give us a little background, what's going on, and why people should actually attend.
Well, we have a story posted on over at dailymemphian.com kind of previewing it, but you know the 2-minute version here is, you know, 8 years ago they decided to bring professional track and field to Memphis. They had their first meet over at Christian Brothers. It was really, really small, you know, humble meet. They had maybe, I can't remember, but they had maybe 1 or 2 pro races, a handful of pro athletes, and that was it. And in that time, you know, thanks to the work of you know, Max Packett, the meet director, and everybody involved with the Classic, it's really grown into so in the world of track, Greg, they have like tier level meets. So your elite meets are like the diamond level and the stuff they do in Europe, but right below that are meets like the one in Memphis. So where these athletes can come and it's the ranking of the meet is commensurate with the kind of points you can earn. So
is that similar to tennis?
Yeah, I guess it is similar to tennis. Yeah, you're right. And similar, you got your challenger events, but then you've got other tournaments that are above that. So yes, I guess it's similar to that. So this Memphis event has grown to the point where it draws enough there's enough points on offer that it's attractive for these pros to come and compete. And now this year, it's you know, last couple of years and continuing this year, they have multiple events. Last night they had field events out at the University of Memphis, long jump, triple jump. Today over on the South Campus, they'll have the sprints and some distance races, the 800, 1500. So you'll have the whole gamut of track competition tonight. And then, of course, like you said, Saturday Saturday the popular pole vaulting on Beale Street, which is a really, really cool spectacle. They set the pit up on on Beale Street. They just run down Beale Street and pole vault. And
It's like the Beale Street flippers, except the pole vault.
Exactly. And people coming out of bars can, it's really cool. You step out of the bars down there and you got pole vaulters flying through there. It's like, oh wow, what's going on? So they've got that. they've also going to have a men's and women's mile race. Laying out a course on Beale Street, and they're going to race the mile through Beale Street too. So they got that
Very
going on
cool.
Saturday as well. They've done some things to kind of make it different and kind of put a Memphis spin on it, and you will see some Olympians down there Saturday in the pole vault. Sam Kendricks from Oxford, Mississippi, I believe, Greg, he's the American record holder in the pole vault. I don't think he's the world record holder, but I think he's got the American record at 19 feet 11 inches, which to me, it's just incredible. That you can, you bend that pole and you go up.
And he's done it
with 20 feet in the air.
And he's done it for a while, John. And let me mention that Sam, who's been on with us, before, was on with Wolo yesterday talking about the vet.
Yeah. So Sam Kendricks, Chris Nielsen is also qualified for Paris, and then in the women's pole vault, a woman named Bryn King. So she finished third in the trials, and she's headed to Paris as well. So 3 Olympic pole vaulters there. So that's pretty cool. You get to see them 2 weeks before they do their thing for real in Paris, and it's a great event. Go to edmurphyclassic.com. They got all the schedule of events, the times, the list, the heat sheets, to see who's competing. You can see the names in every event. They'll have results too when the events are over. Ticket information. I think it's I don't want to say because I can't remember, but they got ticket information. It's on edmurphyclassic.com, and so go check it out. It's a really fun event, and if you got any interest at all in track, I encourage you to attend. There's also going to be youth events, family races. There's going to be some high school kids out there tonight. Kids that I'm familiar with. So it's a fun. It's just a big old track carnival, and they're really doing a great job with it.
Will there be a cost of admission on Beale Street? How do you do
no,
that?
I don't. I don't believe there is. Yeah, you just kind of I said, you just kind of wander through there and
stumble through.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I don't think there's that on Beale Street, but yeah, there's definitely going to be an admission price for tonight at the U of M. I think it's $15, $10. It's affordable. So but check it out. I just don't want to say for sure because I can't remember.
Another one of the sports you cover over the Daily Memphian is soccer, specifically Memphis 901 FC. Yesterday I had Caleb Patterson-Sewell on. It was a delight to talk to him.
Yeah, Caleb's a good guy, isn't he?
He's really a cool guy. And what's interesting is if you read his bio, you go, oh, he's from Nashville. And then he has the Australian accent because I guess he grew up in Australia. He spent a lot of time overseas in Europe and played back here in the States. But Greg Berhalter, big news from earlier in the week.
Berhalter out.
Out.
Our man Lawrence Dockery was.
He can take a victory lap.
Well, Lawrence, I think Lawrence is probably still partying. Man, he hated Greg Berhalter. So excited.
It almost feels like Lawrence made it happen, and Lawrence has a big officiating. He officiates as well as writes about soccer. I think that's going on this week.
Yeah,
but he'll join us, I think, next week to talk about it. But I want to get your thoughts since you're a soccer guy. It seemed one of the most popular firings in the history of people getting fired.
Well,
I hate to say that somebody lost a job, but geez.
Yeah, the only thing, Greg, I could compare it to is like the Tubby Smith situation. It wasn't necessarily that the record was so horrible or the results were so horrible, even though this last performance, in the Copa America was bad. Big picture, it wasn't like the performance was so horrible. It's just that it got to be just untenable with the fan base. You've got people threatening boycotts, of the sponsors if Greg Berhalter's not fired. You got people threatening to withhold their support. People not coming to the matches anymore. Unless they get rid of him. And I guess I think it just got to a point where it was unsustainable, and they just well, man, we just got to make a change. And so he's out. Disappointing performance in the Copa America, Greg. When you look at that group with Uruguay. Well, that's a good team. They're always good. But then the rest of the group is Panama and Bolivia. So you figure out of that group, Greg, you should have got 6 points, right? You figure you should have won those 2 games, and then that advances you out of the group. But they lost to Panama, and I think that really sealed his doom. I mean, disappointing performance, a lot of frustration after the Copa America. So yeah, they've made a change. Now the question is, where do they go? And Greg, as you know, once you fire somebody, you better have some names in your pocket.
Better have a plan.
I mean, you can't just be winging it at this point, because at that point you've just fired them to fire them. So hopefully they can get a good candidate in there. I think it's a super crucial hire at this point with the 2026 World Cup coming in. They've got 2 years basically to get ready for that, and that's going to be an important tournament. So they really, the pressure's on, I think, for Cindy Parlow Cone, former Germantown High standout, and
she's under pressure.
Well, she and the federation, they got to hit a home run with this hire, I think.
Well, John, let me ask you this: again, being an aficionado in the sport of soccer, the move had to be made. We're all in agreement. How much of a difference will it make in the coach, and how much of the blame should go to the darn players? The guys who actually are out there on the pitch playing. I mean, I think Greg, and different from basketball. I think a coach can really impact soccer. I mean, with tactics, with man management, having a hand in squad selection and that type of stuff. I think a coach, the right coach, I think can really make an impact. I don't think I don't think we have bad players. I mean, it's not that we've got good soccer players on the U.S. national team. The fact that they've been, recruited to play at some in Europe and at some really prominent clubs. I mean, it speaks to that. There's just so many problems with U.S. soccer, the way it's run. Not nepotism, but there's a lot of cronyism involved. There's a lot of it's insidery and cliquey and political. Exactly. I mean, so there's that. There's the whole youth system of pay to play. Does that price out a lot of promising kids that might otherwise have a chance to compete, simply because they can't afford it? There's that. I mean, there's lots of elements that factor into it, that make the U.S. national team, a bit more complicated than maybe some other, problems that maybe some other countries don't have. So there's all that. But having said all that, I think the right coach can certainly make a difference. It's been reported yesterday in The Athletic, they made an approach to Jurgen Klopp, but he wants $20 million. So, they weren't paying Greg Berhalter anywhere near that. So that doesn't seem to be, doable. But, there's still some men out there that I think could do the job, and hopefully they'll get it right. I saw the news about Klopp, and what I'm thinking is they know, these coaches around the world know that the United States is in a pretty desperate situation, so why not shoot for the moon?
That's fair. And another coach they're looking at is a Frenchman named Hervé Renard, who currently coaches the French women's team, but he's got a ton of international experience. He's managed, he's coached international teams in Africa, various countries in Africa. I think he's coached the Saudi Arabian national team. So he's got a ton of national experience. Really well regarded coach. He's in the mix. There's a lot of people that would like to see him get the job. So they should be able to get attract some really, really good candidates. But like I said, it's just crucial that whoever they zero in, it's got to be the right guy, because 2026 is going to be big. It's an World Cup's back in America. And with the current players they have being 2 years older, 2 years more experience, hopefully 2 years better. It's a chance to do some damage with the right man on the sidelines.
Good stuff, my friend.
I appreciate you always, buddy, and it is great to have you back with your passport newly stamped and and all your souvenirs. Disappointed you haven't brought me anything from the continent, but I guess we'll bring me a souvenir from Vegas if you can, please.
Do you know, by the way, I'll try. Do you know, by the way, they don't always stamp now, countries?
Oh, they don't? Well, that's disappointing.
No, there's one country we had to pay to get stamped. A couple other countries, they said, yeah, we don't stamp. Like, I always thought that was
that's
that was part of the whole deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to look at my passport and see the stamps of places I've been. I mean, it's really cool. I've got I don't know 4 or 5 different countries on. It's fun.
I got one from Kentucky, one from Missouri.
Oh,
I mean, when you go over the state boundary.
I wish they stamped it every time I went to Murfreesboro. That would be.
You wouldn't have any more room.
I wouldn't. That'd be fun.
You need another book. He is John Varlas from the Daily Memphian. Of course, he'll be covering this weekend the Ed Murphy Classic. Make sure to read all his great stories at the Daily Memphian. Follow him on Twitter at John Varlas. Catch him every Friday right here on Sports 56 Mornings. Again, John is brought to you by Shoot 360 Memphis, where preps and pros go to get their shot on. Another one of our great sponsors is Jenkins Floors and More. They have their new warehouse open in Horn Lake at 2356 Goodman Road. They specialize in flooring and carpeting. They also have stores in Little Rock and in Cleveland, Mississippi. Ceramic and porcelain tiles, hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, everything you need, especially for all you contractors out there, but also homeowners. Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins started this business about 8 years ago, and they are thriving because people love their attention to detail, their pricing. They have earned the reputation of being one of the top flooring companies in the area. They will come to you. They will give you a free estimate, and they will install. They will get the job done in a 2-week turnaround. So stop by or call them at 662-469-9350. That's 662-469-9350. Open Monday through Saturday, or stop by at Goodman Road in Horn Lake if you're down in Cleveland, Mississippi, or in Little Rock, Arkansas. Again, they have stores there as well. It's Jenkins Floors and More. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
They're taking care of business in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called God Hopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
If the woman of your dreams has been searching online for the perfect engagement ring, she's figured out there's a few brand names that are worthy of consideration. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and she doesn't want a plain, ordinary cookie-cutter ring to wear the rest of her life. She wants a world-class designer ring, handcrafted by a true artisan that will hold value and stand the test of time. She's found Tacori, Verragio, Ajaffi, Simon G., among other premium American-made designers. But when you try and find these exclusive rings, you quickly realize most stores don't offer them. They have knockoffs and lookalikes, kind of like those imitation bags and watches on the streets of New York City. But there is one jeweler where you can find the real deal, Genesis Diamonds. Genesis has been chosen by all the most sought-after designers. Genesis is your exclusive home for these iconic brand names that define excellence. Other stores can only dream of being able to offer these, but only Genesis has them. So be careful. Don't settle for anything less than the ring she is worthy of wearing. Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elmer Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-866-0303. Or schedule a live.
about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It looked like a one-car accident just a few minutes ago on Bill Morris Parkway, but it was going outbound out there around Winchester. That's 385 eastbound at Winchester on that one-car accident. Traffic's on the increase coming westbound out of Collierville. It's finally starting to build just a bit southbound on 51 coming down from Millington. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. Go by and see them and save a lot of money this weekend. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever. Woo!
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome in if you're just tuning in. 8:03 the time on this Friday, July 12th, 2024. Greg Gaston, Zach Boyd, Eli off today. We are in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 77. It will get up to 94 degrees today. Mixture of clouds and sun during the morning, and then a little bit more clouds in the afternoon, but another hot day. 73 tonight for a low with some clouds, and then your weekend looks nice but hot again. Mid-90s to upper 90s. The heat index will probably be in the triple digits. I think you can bet on that, but at least sunshine and very minimal chances of precipitation. Second hour of the program is brought to you each and every day by our friends at James Gaddis Jewelers. They are your family's jeweler at 4900 Poplar Avenue in the heart of East Memphis between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Each Monday and Friday, they bring you the Memphis Sports Fact. Did you know former Memphis Tigers standout Kendrick Davis, who played for the Golden State Warriors G League team last season, is suiting up for the Portland Trail Blazers in the NBA 2K25 Summer League in Vegas? So you have Kendrick Davis. Josh Minot's going to be playing. Of course, Josh Minot is a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves. There'll be some Memphis flair. There are other players that will be playing. David Jones, of course, playing for the Philadelphia 76ers. They are all involved in the Summer League. All 30 NBA teams involved in the Summer League in Las Vegas, which gets underway again tonight. James Gaddis Jewelers, your bridal, engagement, and anniversary jeweler headquarters. Been serving Memphians and Mid-Southerners in that same East Memphis location for a quarter century. Before that, they were on Summer Avenue. They've been a part of the fabric of this community for decades. James is a master jeweler, certified appraiser, diamondologist, and he's graded by the Gemologist Institute of America, so he has all the credentials you want in your master jeweler. James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, on the web at gaddisjewelers.com.
We're still waiting on Alex.
All right, Alex Coyle is scheduled to join us here momentarily. Alex is the voice of the Memphis Redbirds. Redbirds wrapping up the first part of their season, first half of their season, if you will, with a few games this weekend. Norfolk to wrap it up tonight, tomorrow night, and then Sunday afternoon before they go on hiatus for the All-Star break, then return back to the friendly confines of AutoZone Park on the 19th of July when they take on Iowa. The Iowa Cubs will be in town to play the Memphis Redbirds. We were talking earlier about Paul Skeens, and when John left during the commercial break, we were talking about that, and he is in agreement with me that it's unbelievable a guy who is now in mid-July, meaning he's pitched a lot, 11 starts, and he's thrown 99 pitches like 100 is some magical number, and he's got a no-hitter, and they retired his last 16 batters. And the manager, Torey Lovullo, felt like, well, he was slowing down a little bit. I understand the value of the athletes in this day and age, especially a guy like him who looks like he is the real deal and could be an all-star perennially. But then again, when you have the stories of Steven Strasburg and Mark Pryor going back and others who had arm issues and it curtailed their careers, you can understand why there is a little hesitation in allowing these pitchers to throw a bunch of pitches. But I still can't believe that the game has changed that much where guys cannot throw complete games. Because when I grew up in the late 60s, early 70s, into the 80s, pitchers were throwing complete games. And I don't remember a million Tommy John surgeries. But again, the value of those players, well, certainly the value was there. What they actually in reality handing out financially was not what they're handing out now to players. I'm talking about athletes across the board in every sport. But they are treated with kid gloves, with bubble wrap, and it's annoying to fans at times. And it's annoying to old school baseball fans when they see that happen, when a guy is cruising the way he's cruising along and gets yanked and they end up giving up a couple of hits, lose the no-hitter, still win the game though, mind you, 1-0 though, able to squeak one out against Milwaukee. But Paul Skeens is the real deal. Well, as I mentioned, the Redbirds 3 more games before the All-Star break. We are very pleased to be joined now by the voice of the Memphis Redbirds, Alex Coyle, who you can follow on Twitter at Alex_Coyle. He joins us now after a late night last night, up early with us. Alex, we appreciate it. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are we doing?
Doing fantastic. So the first half of the season coming to a close. Just a general thought or two on the Redbirds' performance. And look, we understand the goal and what the, especially at the AAA level, what it means for the parent club, getting players in, getting players ready to go, getting players ready for the call-up, rehabbing players. But as far as the on-the-field performance, how would you evaluate it?
Look, I think we've seen a lot of good things. I think we're still waiting for that big run with it all coming together. They've been exactly 500 since all the way back to May 20th on the season. After a really good May, they were 6 games above 500, and they've been hovering right around 3-4 games above 500 on the season mark ever since then. So still looking for that big run. I think right now it's driving in runners in scoring position and getting that big hit with 2 outs to continue a massive rally, doing that with consistency. I think last night was probably the biggest example of that, 2 for 15 with runners in scoring position, and you lose the ball game by 1 in extra innings. So and one more of those hits or even a sacrifice fly to get some guys over could be that big difference maker. But, I mean, you look at who they're playing right now, the Norfolk Tides, who won the AAA National Championship last year and have 1 through 5 that going to be sought after at the trade deadline, that's for sure. So it's an interesting time at AAA with that extra dynamic in there, but it's pretty fun nonetheless.
One of the big stories of the Redbirds so far in 2024 has been Jordan Walker, who has been with the team for most of the season after being sent down by the Cardinals. I think many believed he would have been called up by now. I've heard his name out there in possible trade rumors from different people. I've also heard read where they are not going to, and they will not attempt to try to deal him. What have you seen from Walker? I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to him and what his attitude is. And what do you think maybe the Cardinals will end up doing with him?
Look, he's in a really good place right now mentally. Obviously, he would much rather be up in St. Louis. I think everybody on the team would. That comes with the territory of being in AAA. But he's in a really good spot. He's settled in. He's gotten really close with a lot of his teammates, namely Thomas DeJacy, who's another guy that could possibly be sought after at the trade deadline from other teams. But he's done everything the right way down here, and he just hasn't seen the wowing numbers. I think everything else, when you watch him play, is a wow, right? Like how hard he hits the baseball. There was an at bat. He was up with 2 outs, 2 on, a chance to walk the game off in the 9th inning yesterday, and he hit 2 line drives foul over Ben Johnson's head. One knocked Ben down, and it's one of those things where you can break a manager and get him to laugh in a situation like that with just the raw power off of the bat. One example of the crazy stuff that Jordan can do. But I think really it's just going to take a full, consistent 2 weeks of just crushing the baseball and putting together good numbers. But you look at 2 nights ago, he drove in 3 with a rocket double that he hit 112 miles an hour. That a lot of people were like, "Oh, it was misplayed by the outfielder." Well, no, it was impossible to read because it was on a frozen rope that looked like, all right, I'm going to be able to catch this ball, and all of a sudden, a half second later, it's by him. So he's just the tools that he has to be able to hit the ball that hard and keep it 2 inches off the ground is pretty amazing. And he's gotten a lot better in right field too.
The Cardinals' turnaround, and it's not a complete turnaround, but all of a sudden now they're right there in the Major League Baseball playoff picture, where a couple of months ago you couldn't say the same thing. They've always been buyers, in my opinion. It's very rare to see a Cardinals team as a seller at the trade deadline, but now it just emphasizes more that they're going to be looking to add and strengthen their team, which makes it very interesting for the entire organization, probably some players on pins and needles. I don't know how much you're paying attention to what's going on with the parent team, doing your duties as play-by-play announcer for the AAA team, but is there something or a specific area that you think the Cardinals need to look at to strengthen their chances?
It's right-handed hitting. They're a very left-handed hitting team up there. They need one big, consistent right-handed bat, I would say. And, of course, getting Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt to do their MVP caliber play consistently would help with that. But also I think that they'd probably need one more anyway. But I think the biggest need that you kind of knew coming into the season, and you still need it now, and you knew best case scenario, all right, if we're in the thick of things, we're going to be able to trade for one of those at the deadline. It's back-end starting pitching. A number 5 starter that, maybe could be a middle-of-the-rotation guy somewhere else, just to lengthen that thing. Andre Palante's done a really nice job up there since coming down here and being stretched out. About 2 months ago, he's done a really nice job, but I think they'd like a more veteran, more seasoned guy for that role, that you know exactly what you're going to get, and then Palante can go back to a swing bullpen arm. And I think last year's trade deadline, as much as Cardinals fans, the pain of last year and the disappointment of last year's trade deadline is a big reason why they're going to be able to get that back-end starter and get that right-handed bat, because you look at the retooling of the system, especially at the AAA level, that they got last year for Montgomery, for Flaherty, for Hicks. Maybe hasn't made an impact at the major league level this season, but it's guys like Cesar Prieto, Adam Kloffenstein, Sam Roberts, Drew Rom, who's injured, but other guys, Thomas DeJacy, Takao Roby, those are the guys that you're going to be trading at this deadline, the types of players, or guys that play similar positions to them in organizational depth are going to bring you those other arms. So I think, Cardinals fans have to be really happy with how last deadline turned out, because it's going to give them some really good stuff this deadline.
So Luken Baker has been fantastic to watch. If you're looking for that typical bomber, he seems like he's an old school player. He's now become the Redbirds' all-time leader in career home runs. To me, I still don't get it. I don't know why he's not up. I'm not sure what his options are. When I look at the trade deadline, I think he could be somebody interesting for another team. Again, he would be in the big leagues if he was more consistent. And I'm not sure if it's the breaking pitch that maybe he struggles with, but there's got to be something that he's playing and has been playing for a while now in the minors as opposed to the majors. But a guy who can hit the ball as far as he can and has consistently hit the ball deep, I would think he would be attractive.
Yeah, for sure, especially for what the Cardinals are looking for in a back-end guy or a long relief type guy, like, maybe an Eric Fetty from the White Sox. Just imagine how many home runs Luke and Baker could hit on the south side of Chicago and in that division, I think, as you said, pretty perplexing as to obviously we know the decision of why he hasn't been up in terms of Paul Goldschmidt, but perplexing in the fact of we haven't seen him get full-time at-bats for a month up at the big leagues yet. Right. So we don't even know what is going to translate up there. So, a lot of scouts have been watching the Redbirds of late, and he is a big name that a lot of people have keyed in on. He's not going to be a main piece of a deal. I don't think, as much as some of us think he should be with his play, but he will be a pretty key piece to bring something over if they want to move him, or if they say, all right, I think he can be a DH. He could be that right-handed bat that they need to pick up at the deadline. Maybe he goes up in August.
You touched on this a little bit earlier about the pitchers with the Redbirds, some who have been called up and have had an outing or maybe a relief appearance and have come back down. Is there any pitcher to you, or maybe there's multiple pitchers in your mind that right now are pitching with the Redbirds that you feel are definite major league pitchers?
I think there are really a handful, honestly. I think we've seen tremendous things from Adam Clausen's team this season. Obviously, he made his major league debut at Rickwood Field and tossed a really good inning in relief. I think he's just got to find some consistency in terms of the home run ball. He's a big ground ball guy, ironically. He leads the team in ground ball double plays, almost doubles second place on the Redbirds, but he can get hit pretty hard sometimes. So I think finding consistency in terms of not making that big mistake over the heart of the plate. But I think he's a very good caliber guy. I think Gordon Graceffo, when he's at the top of the game and has his mix working, he can be a very good arm up there. He's looked really good in 2 appearances up with St. Louis this season. And then Sam Robertson, who's on the injured list, he showcased his unbelievable start to the season and then went through a rough patch right before he landed on the injured list. He started his throwing program earlier this week, so hopefully he can get back here soon, maybe by early August. I think he's a guy that probably needs some more time here at AAA just to refine the mix. His mechanics are awesome. His pitchability is really, really good. Just sometimes he relies too heavily on the fastball, and that's when he gets hit hard. And then of course Michael McGreevy, who has been phenomenal the last couple weeks. He's an interesting guy to watch at the trade deadline because his floor is so high. His stuff is pretty much the same that it's always been. That has developed a little bit along the way, a first-round pick, and there's a reason he was a first-round pick. So I think his ceiling is maybe not as high as someone like Gordon Graceffo or some of these other massive prospects, but his floor is also higher than a lot of these guys too, and I think he's probably going to be able to have that consistent major league career.
Alex Coyle, the voice of the Redbirds, joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. All right, final thing for you. You may have heard me talking about it a little bit before I brought you on. Paul Skeens, again last night, absolutely out of this world. He has been a sensation since day one. He goes 7 no-hit innings, 99 pitches, gets yanked. Lovello says, I saw that he was a little bit running out of gas a little bit. He had retired 16 straight. I know why they're doing it. I went on my soapbox to talk about that earlier in the show, but I still, come on, every once in a while it would be nice to see a complete game thrown, especially a complete game no-hitter. What is your thoughts on that? 99 pitches. 100 is not a magical number. It doesn't mean your arm's going to fall off.
I mean, I totally agree. I think it's one of those things where, I mean, you remember it back with Steven Strasburg, too.
Sure.
In his rookie season, maybe not specifically this situation, but when they shut him down during a playoff run.
I do. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. And it ended up, down the road they won a World Series. So who knows? You could argue that worked, I guess. But also, you could argue that with the injuries that Steven Strasburg had in his career, maybe he didn't have the fullest career that he could. But I don't know. I think anytime you have a chance for history in a rookie season with a phenom like that, he's, 6 outs away?
Right.
6 outs away, likely against the bottom of the order for the opposing team. I don't know. It was interesting because his fastball wasn't as hot as it was this season earlier in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that's a sign of anything. If anything, that should be like, if he's a little lower today, he doesn't have the entire full gas in the tank on the fastball. Let's keep him rolling.
But he doesn't rely just on the fastball. He has a great arsenal. Exactly.
And so he's not going full 100% in the second inning, which is the only inning of that game I watched. But, he's just such a phenomenal pitcher. Personally, for the entertainment value, I would love to see him start the All-Star game. Especially coming off of this appearance. I think you mentioned Torey Lovullo of the Diamondbacks, watching that game closely as the National League manager. I think he's a big option. You can argue whether he deserves to be an all-star after coming up late, but I think he deserves to start the game, and I think it's an exhibition for the game to grow the game anyway. Might as well put him in there.
Yeah, and I should have said Derek Shelton is the Pirates skipper who pulled him, but Lovullo, the decision-maker for the All-Star game. I think he will get the start, but I think he would have thrown a couple of immaculate innings. It would have been 18 more pitches. It would have been 117 total. He would have threw the no-no. We'd be talking about that today. He's the voice of the Redbirds. He is Alex Coyle. 3 more games this weekend. Redbirds tonight with Norfolk, tomorrow night, and then on Sunday afternoon, then the All-Star break. Alex, we'll do it again soon. We appreciate you. Great work with the Redbirds, and thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, Greg. Having fun. Have a good rest of your show.
Thank you, Alex. All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. You're in the market for an automobile. Why not head on down to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch? They have hundreds of new and pre-owned Silverados. Some marked 12% off invoice. Add up the All-Star special discounts. And then look for the Costco member deals. That's something new. One sweet buyer's market right now. Financing as low as 1.9. No payments for 90 days on a bunch of those new All-Star Chevrolets. Nothing beats road trips in a beautiful new Tahoe. But they're all available for you, including those beautiful Silverados. Get an extra $500 bonus if you're in healthcare, an educator, a college grad, military, or first responder. No matter what pre-owned you're looking for, they got it there at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. Jeeps, 4Runners, Expeditions, Navigators, all the trucks. They're in Olive Branch where you can test drive them all. Bring any vehicle you want to sell. Get a big check today. Don't miss All-Star Chevy's special summer sale. It's going on right now in Olive Branch. And check them out online at allstarautogroup.com. We're talking Memphis Tiger football, little Memphis Grizzlies as well next with Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Buster's Butcher at 199 South Highland Street in Memphis. We're a full-service butcher shop offering a curated selection of quality meats, cheeses, prepared foods, and more. At Buster's, our skilled butchers are also experienced chefs. They'll be delighted to guide you on selecting, preparing, and cooking our fine selection of products. We're like nothing else you can find in Memphis. Learn more at bustersbutcher.com and come see why every cut counts at Buster's Butcher.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 915246799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
DQ presents Picture This. Picture the DQ freezer, home to all the Blizzard flavors of the past. Picture it opening to bring back the salted caramel truffle blizzard for a limited time. Picture that salted caramel truffle blizzard in your hands. It's all yours. No, really, it's all yours. This treat is too good to share. Everyone will have to get one for themselves. Hurry in to get this flavor before the DQ freezer closes. DQ, happy tastes good.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
You watch sports. You listen to sports. Now let's talk sports. Well, not anymore, because Sports 56 is opening the airwaves overnight. From 12 midnight till 6 a.m. for people like you to talk sports during your own 1-hour radio talk show on Sports After Dark. For 1 hour, tell us what's really on your mind regarding sports. Your favorite sports team, favorite player, discuss pre-games, post-games, all games. Let's talk. Rotation is required. Interested applicants must contact the podcast center at gmail.com or call 901-468-3097. That's the podcast center at gmail.com or 901-468-3097. Amateur and professional talk show hosts encouraged to apply. Required orientation is Saturday, July 20th, or you can take it online at your leisure at the podcast center, Memphis.com.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's looking better than it was on 40 eastbound, coming across the Hernando de Soto Bridge, coming over from West Memphis. Earlier this morning, they were out there doing some work. Looks like they may have wrapped it up. Give yourself a little bit of extra time. Some radar down I-40 coming in from Fayette County. It's finally starting to get a little bit busier in the last few minutes out here on 240 east and westbound, over here around Poplar. Hey, Havenly Showers is your curbless shower specialist. Transform your bathroom with a tub to curbless shower conversions. For more information on this, just log on to havenlyshowers.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
No Eli today. Greg Gaston, Zach Boyd with you, halfway home on this Friday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Another hot, scorching day today. The weekend looks to be a duplicate of what we've had the last couple of days. Coming up in hour number 3, we'll head out to Vegas Summer League continues. This time they're in Las Vegas after the Grizzlies played 3 games in Salt Lake City. They'll open up tonight against the Kings, their first of 4 games. And Michael Wallace will join us at 9:05 to talk about the Grizzlies. And then at about 9:25, 9:30 or thereabouts, we'll play 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. But right now, we want to talk both a little Grizzlies and a little Memphis Tigers football. Pretty eclectic, because that's what Jonah Dillon does. He covers both Tigers football. He's the Tigers football beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, but he's also a Grizzlies reporter for the CA and does a great job with both. You can follow him on Twitter at the Jonah Dillon, and he joins us now on the program. Jonah, what's happening?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
Good. Are you heading down to Dallas for media days?
I am not, actually. So I've got to. Next week is actually my week off. I'm gonna be back home in LA, getting a little rest. Then I'll come back. We'll have media days, and then football practices will start the week after that. And then we're kind of in it until the end of the year, right? So
they didn't tell you you're not allowed to have a week off. You have
I
to
know,
work
right?
every single day.
It's my last chance. That's why I was like looking at the calendar, and I'm like, once that week is over, then there's something to do every single day. So I'm going to enjoy my last couple days where I don't have to do anything. I'm going to spend as much time possible on the beach. And then once I'm back here, we're ready to go.
What is the over-under on how many times Ryan Silverfield at media days in Dallas, the American Conference Media Days, has asked about being the representative in the college football playoff from the Group of 5?
I mean, I'm guessing if you're going to sit there at a press conference, and I know they do it pretty quickly, right? So I think if he's up there for 15 minutes, I would guess half the questions are going to be that. But you know how you got to do it, right? You can't just ask the same question that he's already been asked. But you got to kind of, well, what do you think about Boise State? They're pretty good. Oh, what would it mean to be the top team? Oh, what would it? What if you guys win the conference championship? Do you think that'll get you that spot? But I'm sure he's got the answers locked and loaded. So yeah.
Any doubt in your mind that when the media votes, Memphis will be the top dog?
Not really anymore. I mean, I kind of felt like earlier in the offseason, there was kind of a case to be made with Tulane. But it definitely looks like, especially when you look at how nationally, when you look at these rankings of Group of 5 teams and who's going to go to the playoffs, it looks to me like Tulane is kind of faded, behind like the Boise States and the Liberties, and obviously the Memphises. And Memphis obviously had a pretty good spring transfer window, so that helped things. And I think with, also just with the attention that Memphis has gotten nationally, a lot of people, I don't know exactly everybody who votes in that poll, but a lot of people are, they're not going to go through every single team super closely. Even for me, I'm trying to make sure I go through, make sure my rankings are somewhat make sense, but there's a lot of teams to go through and not a lot of teams that, necessarily get a ton of coverage all the time. So I feel like Memphis is going to be picked first, which is, it's going to be a big deal because Memphis, it's been a couple of years. Obviously, SMU leaving the conference and some of the things that have happened with the other teams, but that's going to kind of solidify the expectations, I think, with where this is headed.
I know it's impossible for media to know about every single roster up and down as far as every one of these schools is concerned. So who knows? Maybe a Charlotte did some really good things that we don't know about, or a Florida Atlantic, or a South Florida. But I'll ask you this in general terms. Do you think there will be a team that we will undervalue, and I say we collectively as media, will undervalue in the American Conference, and they will make noise? And who is it?
I think, to me, it looks like, last year there was 4 teams that we all thought were the top at the beginning of the season, and they were all there at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. And I think it kind of looks the same way this year. You look at Memphis, UTSA, Tulane, and USF. So South Florida is kind of the team that's, I guess, replacing SMU in that tier. And they're the team I would kind of be most interested in terms of growth potential, because they're one of the only teams, the Group of 5 that was successful last year that brought back their quarterback. And, they're pretty excited about him there. To have a team that went from, I think they were 1-11 2 years ago, and they come in and they go to a bowl game last year. So you're talking about really significant growth. Now, how do you build on that? There's a lot of room for potential. I think there's still a lot of unknowns there. And then the other teams, you just look at, I think some teams will improve, like ECU kind of had a down year last year. I do think Charlotte is going to improve. Like, I think people should pay attention to what's going on there, because it is pretty interesting. And even some of these other teams, like the teams that we saw Memphis play, UAB, North Texas, I think there's reasons to believe that they're going to be better this year. But a lot of these teams, you have the same thing that goes on in basketball. It goes on in a lot of sports where if you did have guys, you look at like North Texas, they had a couple standout players and they transferred to power conference schools, right? So it's really hard to retain players, and it makes it hard to kind of build a sustainable program with the growth trajectory if you're kind of in that tier. So to me, it's like those 4 teams. I'd be pretty surprised if anybody else kind of crept up in there.
Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. All right, without saying Seth Hennigan, who is the most important player for the Tigers this upcoming season?
Interesting. It's a tough one. Like I want to say Chandler Martin because I feel like the season is going to be decided on the defensive side of the ball. We know that's where the room for growth is, right? Based on how last season went, because the offense was really good. So then again, down the stretch was really good, and they've obviously brought back a lot of guys. I think when you look at the defense, obviously Chandler Martin is kind of the standout player there, and we know what he can do based on last season. But the whole defense is being rebuilt, like the scheme, everything. There's going to be a lot of new players, and Jordan Hankins has kind of said throughout the offseason that he's going to build his scheme based on the personnel he has. And the personnel he has is Chandler Martin as a star player, which means essentially we're talking about building a defense around this guy, which isn't something that you necessarily see that much in college football because there's always so much roster turnover and a lot of teams are just playing a scheme and trying to fill, spots that are going to fit into that. And so for him, and when we talk about the helmet mics potentially, and we talk about, his role growing even further, aside from just being the leading tackler, we're talking about leadership. We're talking about the whole way that this defense is going to operate. And to me, I mean, he's obviously got the potential. You saw in some lists he's being touted as a potential All-American. So he's got the potential to play at that level. But this entire defense and it's kind of going to live and die with how he does. And so I think in that sense, he's just going to be such a huge piece and such an important kind of barometer for how this team does. But I reserve my right to change that as we go through summer practices.
Yeah, I won't hold you to it. While the team has embraced it, do you worry, or should there be some concern that maybe the media, not only in Memphis but around the country, is kind of giving the Tigers a little bit too much credit? When I look at this schedule, and I see, obviously, Florida State, a big challenge, non-conference, but then you turn around, you got to go to Navy right after that. And then you play those big boys in the conference, Tulane, as you mentioned, UTSA, South Florida, all on the road. Is there a little concern about maybe overvaluing the team?
There could be. I mean, I think I would even go earlier. I think that the Troy game is the one that's the one that I would be kind of concerned about because realistically, throughout the whole offseason, right, we're going to be talking about Florida State, the relationship between Ryan Silverfield and Mike Norvell, the importance of that game, the opportunity to play a team like that on that kind of a stage to kind of test yourself. And to be honest, even the Troy game is the week before that. Like during the Troy week, we're just going to be talking about Florida State, and everyone's going to be talking about Florida State. And Troy is a good team. Obviously, program. They lost John Summerall, right? But that's a team that's been very successful over the past couple of years, and it's going to be that's probably the most difficult game on the home schedule if you really look at it. And so I think that's one I would focus on. And then when you get into some of these other conference games, we kind of saw it last year. Obviously, we saw it with men's basketball, where when you played these big time games, Memphis is obviously going to play Florida State, and then you're on the road against these teams that you feel like everyone is talking about that you're at this level and they're not at it, right? And we saw last year with football, like Memphis went and they won all those games, but it was not easy. The heart rate during the North Texas and the UAB and the Charlotte game, those were life and death. And part of it was, like the Charlotte game, you're going to a place that is just coming into this conference. A lot of those teams are coming up from a different conference and nobody is saying they should be on that level and you're significant favorites, and you're kind of looking ahead to other teams. So I think this year it'll be a little bit different because at least those road games, most of them are against teams that, we consider to be at the top of the conference. And then you've got Navy, which seems to always be a difficult game for Memphis, regardless of how good each team is. So I think they'll be up for those games, but I think if you look at some of those home games, there's definitely the potential to kind of sleepwalk through a couple of them.
I do really like, though, how they have embraced it. They have not turned their back on all the hype they love it. They feel that they should be talked about the way they are, and that's very unusual for Memphis football. Very unusual for a Ryan Silverfield coach team. But every time we've had a guest on, a player, a coach, they love the fact that they're being looked at as possibly the best of the non-Power Five.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is a lot of it is, and Ron Silverfield will tell you, going back to the end of last season and the momentum that they kind of have. And so they want to use that, and they feel like they earned it, right? They feel like they earned all this from how they played, down the stretch of last season, how they played against Iowa State. And obviously, Memphis is 0-0, just like every other team in the country. But this whole thing that's going on right now with the playoffs, there's just so much more interest right now in the group of five, and there's going to continue to be as the season unfolds. And so you've got to embrace it, because people are going to know who these guys are on a level that I think they didn't before, assuming that Memphis is in the mix throughout the whole season. And this, we're asking them now, we're talking about the expectations, but if Memphis is winning games in the middle of the season, this is only going to ramp up more and more. Think about what it's going to be like going to that Tulane game on Thanksgiving Day if both those teams are still in the mix, right? So these questions are, now they have to answer them kind of in a hypothetical way, but these questions are going to become more and more real as the season goes on, and I think it's preparation-wise, they've got to be ready to answer them.
All right, one of your other beats, of course, is the Memphis Grizzlies. You've been locked in on what they've been doing so far in Summer League in Salt Lake City. Obviously, Zach Edey playing that first game and playing as well as he did was the story. Now they go to Vegas for 4. We have no clue what the plan is for Edey or anybody for that matter. What would you like to see in these 4 games in Las Vegas?
I think, obviously we'd like to see Edey play more, right? That was an electrifying Summer League debut, right? Mm-hmm. It was just not even just to play, just the amount of interest that there was. Then he gets moved up into the favorite for Rookie of the Year after one Summer League game, which I think is crazy.
That was nuts.
But he obviously, I think the takeaway, he's playing against Walker Kessler, who's like a legitimate NBA center. So that, and even Taylor Jenkins was talking about that the next day. That's the kind of experience that you need, not necessarily, you got to look at the guys that you're playing against in Summer League, and don't overreact to anything. I'm trying to tell people, don't overreact to anything either way in Summer League, right? Because there's just so many things going on. So I think we'd like to see him play more. I think you looked at the jump that Jalen Wells made from the first game where he really struggled, and then obviously the second game he hits the buzzer beater. I think he had 27 points. Played really well, was able to score. I think part of it in Summer League is you want to see some of these guys get different roles, right? So let's see what somebody can do when they're the top offensive option. Let's see what somebody can do when they're not, because realistically most guys aren't going to be the top option. Even Zach Edey. One of the reasons that people were excited was they were like, this guy looks really good as a screen setter and as a rim protector, right? We're not even talking about giving him the ball in the post, because when you look at how the Grizzlies are going to play this season, they need Zach Edey to be a screen setter and a rim protector. They don't need him to score 20 points every night. And so I think seeing guys in different roles and kind of shuffling in and out is the thing that I would look for. And then obviously, if Zach Edey is able to get back out there, how he performs, I guess on a bigger stage, but just against different competition and in different kind of situations.
Last thing for you. As far as the season is concerned and the point guard position after Ja Morant, and they have capable, Dez can run the point. I'm sure Smart at times could run the point. Scottie Pippen Jr. is a two-way guy, and we've seen his capability. Derrick Rose, if I'm not mistaken, is back. Correct?
Yeah.
Is Derrick Rose going to go right back into that? Last year we wondered, would D. Rose play or not? And he was the backup point guard until he got hurt, which was inevitable. Will he go into the season as the backup point guard? Or now with the two-way, and you can have those guys up so many times, right? Do you expect Pippen? Who do you expect to back up Ja?
Well, yeah, the thing with and I think it's interesting because you see people are obviously interested in Scottie Pippen Jr., but the reality is, in the two ways, I think that kind of what happened last season kind of skewed what people view as usual two-way situations, right? Because last season everyone was injured. Mm-hmm. But you really can't play. If you remember last season, they were being very selective with these guys sitting out games and stuff because they knew that when they were active, they were going to have to play significant roles. But you can't really plan for a two-way guy to be to be a rotation player consistently because of how many games. You can't have people coming in and out of the rotation if you want him to be your guy. So if they are looking at it like Scottie Pippen should be our backup point guard, then it's not going to work on a two-way probably. To me, like, I think Marcus Smart might be the answer because you talked about Derrick Rose. Obviously, I think ideally they would like Derrick Rose to play a role, but last season with the injuries, it's too hard to rely on that. Obviously, if he's able to stay healthy, he could because I think he actually played all right when he played. So I think there's still something there, but I think Marcus Smart is probably going to be one of the most important players on this team because it's kind of gotten forgotten. He didn't really play that much last season, but his fit in terms of how does he fit with John Morant, and then how does he play off of him, and then what does he look like when Ja's not out there? And I think Marcus Smart could be the guy. He could be a starter, but then Ja goes out and he plays point guard, kind of with the second unit. I think we could see a lot of that, and obviously Scottie Pippen could play a role. But I feel like at this point, I would expect, like you said, Desmond Bane could be somebody. I would expect it to be that kind of a situation. And if they decide that Scottie Pippen is the guy, then realistically they're probably going to have to find a way to get him on a standard roster spot.
All right. Enjoy your time back home in Cali.
I will. I'll talk to you when I get back.
Sounds great. Thank you, Jonah.
All right. Take care.
Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal. You can follow him on Twitter at the Jonah Dillon. Texted back and forth last night with Becky Dinstel. They got a Summer Sizzler special pecan brittle. Absolutely out of this world. Fresh butter blended with pecan halves and brown sugar. Pecans on anything, salads, candy, they're always out of this world. And they have this pecan brittle, which is out of this world. So make this crunchy, mouth-watering summer treat your Summer Sizzler special. Pick some up today. It's also the beginning of chocolate-covered blackberries. Got the chocolate-covered strawberries, the chocolate-covered grapes, chocolate-covered pineapples, chocolate-covered blackberries. Get them while they last at, of course, Dinstel's. Over 122 years perfecting that chocolate and those delicious candies. Yeah, they must be doing something right. 5 convenient locations. You can head out to Collierville. You can go to Germantown, downtown Memphis. You can go over to Laurelwood in East Memphis, which is my go-to, and, of course, Pleasant View, where they make the candies. Dinstel's fine candies and chocolates, putting smiles on people's faces for over 122 years. When we come back, some NBA news to get to. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Mississippi, a Southern gem for over 15 years. Check out their bigger, better, bolder new location, 2595 McInvale Road, Hernando. Huge selection, incredible pricing. Choose from hundreds of bourbons, tequilas, rum, scotch, and vodka. Over 1,000 wines from fine and very simple picnic wines. At Cork and Barrel, it's all about serving you. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 10, where the fun begins and the liquor and wine never end. Cork and Barrel, 2595 McInvale Road, I-55 Hernando, exit 280.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at the Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Looking for a way to elevate your engine's performance? Start with Napa Full Synthetic Engine Oil.
It provides faster oil flow for hot and cold temperature protection in the harshest driving conditions. Regular use can help your engine run cleaner and longer by defending against sludge and buildup, improving overall engine performance and fuel efficiency while increasing the time between oil changes. Make the switch without slowing down. Feed your ride Napa Full Synthetic Engine Oil. Available now at Napa locations nationwide.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum, this dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. Final segment here in hour number 2. Again, we open up hour 3, talking some more Grizzlies with Michael Wallace from the NBA. Kyle Lowry has signed a 1-year deal to remain with the 76ers, his hometown of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Also, Zach, according to Sean Devaney, friend of the show, the Lakers have shown increased interest in trading for Wendell Carter Jr. Averaged 11 points, 6.9 rebounds, shot 52.5% from the field in 55 games last season.
Okay, that's cool.
You put Carter next to Davis?
Yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out who they're going to trade. That's the only thing.
Well, we know one person that's not on the trading block. They trade LeBron before they trade Bronny James. He's not getting traded.
Say Austin Reeves.
No, I'm joking, but yeah, Bronny. They're not going to trade. He's not going to be thrown in a deal. But it's interesting. Wendell Carter's name had popped up during the offseason, still the offseason, but earlier in the offseason when we talked about the Grizzlies and possible bigs potential out there. I never thought anything of it, but again, this is the possibility of the Lakers trading for him. I don't know who they would have to give up.
So they can. Gabe Vincent makes $11 million. Jared Vanderbilt makes $10.7. Those two would probably be the only two that I can see. Like Vincent, it's an aspiring deal, so it's up after this year, and Vanderbilt has 3 more years left on his deal. So
yeah, Vanderbilt would seem like the likely player to be traded if that was because he would also lose the minutes.
Right, and also the thing is that with Orlando, they just re-up on Goga Batadze and on Mo Wagner on top of that. So it's like, and then you still got Paolo playing the four. So it's like, who else? I don't see it, but okay.
Right. Well, maybe there's somebody else there that they could get. I don't know who it would be. That's not a big. That's not a power forward. And that interests them. But again, that's just a rumor out there that Sean Devaney has reported. From the world of college football, I don't know what's changed where the odds would change, but according to ESPN Bet, the new favorite for the Heisman Trophy, Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel.
Really?
Yeah. Dylan, who's played at UCF, Oklahoma, Oregon. Oregon moving into the Big Ten, going up against some of those Big Ten defenses. I don't know. I don't see him winning the Heisman. He's at plus 750. So Carson Beck, who was the favorite, is now at plus 800. So it's close, but he is the second pick. Quinn Ewers of Texas is the third pick. You can get plus 900 for Quinn Ewers. Now the talk, is there's been so much talk about Texas, and rightly so, understandably so, led by Quinn Ewers, a really, really strong team. But I just don't think they're walking into the SEC and just going to run roughshod over the SEC.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I could be wrong. By the way, Jackson Dart, the quarterback for Ole Miss, is 4th on that list at plus 1,500. There's a bunch of other SEC quarterbacks that are in the top 10, top 15 as far as ESPN bet and the preseason Heisman odds. But Blake Topmeyer, friend of the show, wrote a story yesterday about 7 teams from the SEC that could finish second. This is with the presumption that Georgia finishes first. And if Georgia finishes first, I think there's the strong case that Carson Beck is your Heisman winner. But so many things can occur. But if Georgia is winning the SEC, and Beck would be a leading candidate, I think, for the Heisman. But the question from Blake is who is going to finish second? Again, no divisions now, one conference, that's it. All the teams, including the new teams, Texas and Oklahoma. And he makes a case for the 7. And those 7 include, I got to do this by memory, Tennessee, Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, LSU, and Texas A&M. And his conclusion, it was Texas.
First year.
First year to finish second behind Georgia. So that means you're left with an Alabama with new coach Kalen DeBoer battling to finish third, if that was the case. And not easy when you have those other schools that I mentioned that will all be in the mix. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, they make it easy for you. If you have an event coming up, you want it catered, because Corky's has been catering as long as they've been in existence, which has been 4 decades, specializing in that delicious, slow-smoked barbecue, nothing like it. The Q, the ribs, the barbecue nachos. They have delicious wings as well. My buddy gets the wings all the time. I love the cheese and sausage plates. You can even go outside the barbecue family. They got an award-winning catfish plate, tamales, even burgers, amazing desserts. 4 locations, Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. They will cater any event you got coming up, no matter how small, how large. Just give them a call, find out about their catering services. They'll start you out as low as $8.99 per person. They will take care of everything. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Hour 3 on the way. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
College football season is approaching quickly, and that means it's time for SEC Media Days. Brett Norsworthy is broadcasting live from Dallas, Texas, Monday through Thursday, previewing the upcoming season and bringing you interviews coaches, and SEC insiders. So tune into Sports Time with Brian and Brett, as well as throughout the rest of the day for SEC Media Days coverage on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. SEC Media Days is brought to you by First National Bank and Trust, Rules, Jim's Place in Collierville, your North Mississippi John Deere dealer, Wade Incorporated, the Commissary in Germantown and Collierville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Memphis Sports and Tourism Council, Ronnie Grisani's, and Jimmy McElroy and Associates. The SEC Media Days on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life. This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It was a little bit busy earlier. It was down to one lane on 40 East coming over from West Memphis across the Hernando DeSoto Bridge. Not too bad of a backup. We've seen it worse before, that's for sure. Traffic still moving right now coming in from Fayette County on 40 westbound from 269 all the way up to, let's say, Sycamore View Road. Hey, Havenly Showers, your curbless shower specialist. Transform your bathroom with a tub to curbless shower conversions. For more information, just log on to havenlyshowers.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. Final hour for us this week here on Sports 56 Mornings, 9:04 the time. Greg Gaston, Zach Boyd, Eli off today. Getting you set for the sports weekend, broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Third hour of the program is brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. The new warehouse in Horn Lake is open. 2356 Goodman Road. Go visit the fine folks, Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins, all their great employees in Hernando. They also have stores in Little Rock and in Cleveland, Mississippi. They started this business about 8 years ago, and it is thriving because of the quality of work they do, their attention to detail, their pricing. That's why they've earned the reputation of being one of the top flooring companies in the area. So if you're looking for hardwoods, they got hardwoods by Portercraft, ceramic and porcelain tiles. You're looking for those SPC and WPC vinyls, they have them. Top of the line, scratch resistant, waterproof, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, backsplashes for your kitchens and your bathrooms, plantation shutters and blinds, and much, much more. They sell it wholesale. That's going to save you lots of money. You could do it yourself. If you're a contractor out there, a homeowner, whatever the case may be, do it yourself or have Jenkins Floors and More do it for you. They'll come out and give you a free estimate. No matter where you are, just call them. They'll come out and do a free estimate for you, show you the different samples. Financing is available, and then they'll turn around and finish the job in 2 weeks. That's their promise. Call them, 662-469-9350, 662-469-9350, or visit them in Horn Lake or at their other locations. They're open Monday through Saturday. Military, first responders, you get 10% off the job. Sports 56 listeners, ask about your family discount. Jenkins Floors and More, third-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. Without further ado, it's early here in Memphis. It's really early out in Las Vegas. That's where our friend Michael Wallace is, the senior editor, contributor, and analyst for Grind City Media. You can follow Michael on Twitter at MyMikeCheck, and he joins us now from Sin City. Michael, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. I'm inside, so that means that I'm still alive, right? As opposed to, being outside in the elements. And then, it's never too early when you got kids. It's one of those things where when they're up, I'm up no matter where I am in the country. So, I've been there for a couple hours now.
Well, I do appreciate that. I'm actually headed your way next week, so I'm sure I will see you. I'm looking forward to it. Got a couple of things going on out there.
We don't overlap. We don't oversee. I'm out. I don't stay the entire summer league. I'm just here for the first 2 games. And you know how our Grind City Media roster is. We got some depth there. So I'm here for the first 2 games in Vegas. Kelsey takes over from there, and then Jessica Benson comes in to close us out. So I'm gonna miss you, Greg. I apologize for that, man.
Wow.
If you're not here by Sunday night, Monday, man, I'm gonna miss you. But we'll catch up at another time. Sure.
How about that? Yeah, I'll be there for the last 2 games. I'm going to see the last 2 games, and I'm out there for a Penny Hardaway golf event. Looking forward to it. But in either case, it is great to have you on the show as always. What was your take from Salt Lake City? And again, as we take everything with a grain of salt, it is Summer League. But your thoughts on what happened in Salt Lake?
Hey, was that a play on words there? You said take everything with a grain of salt, and then what happened in Salt Lake, man? You're better than you think you are.
It was an accident.
Dropping dimes. Yeah, you're dropping dimes without even knowing. My biggest takeaway, and I'll have a piece up, a preview piece, up on Grind City Media. My Mike Check column will be dropping pretty soon. Outlining the transition that the Grizzlies have made from what they did in Salt Lake City to now coming to Vegas. And sort of my takeaways and what to expect, at this point moving forward. The biggest takeaway is that, we got the first impression of Zach Edey. And one of the things that my piece is going to detail is that, yes, he has an ankle issue right now. The severity of it is very minimum. They're at least the team is saying that it's a minor issue, a minor tweak that they're just being extra precautious of because it is Summer League. Mm-hmm. And Utah didn't necessarily give you the time because the games are back to back to back. And Utah, Salt Lake City Summer League might need to relook at that format. This was one of those. Usually you play 2 games, get a day off, and then play the getaway game. They may have to space that out a little bit more, especially if you're talking about trying to make sure, your front line young players will get a chance to play in most of the games. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, man, that's a phenomenal place to play. I actually prefer the Salt Lake City setup overall because there's just so much else going on here. But, one of the things is that the takeaway for me is, Zach Edey, once he's able to get back, he's going to be able to build on that impressive debut. The second thing for me is, you saw some guys struggle in the initial games. G.G. Jackson and Jalen Wells both struggled on their first games on Monday, and they each came back successively and had some very, very productive games the next time they stepped out there. So the improvement happened quickly, and now you got to see if you can have some shooting fall. Grizzlies are shooting just 22% from 3-point range through 3 games. They're 20 for 88. Somebody's got to drop the ball in the bucket from 3-point range beyond Cam Spencer. And Jalen Wells and those guys. They got to figure out how to consistently knock down that shot. But you get into a rhythm here in Summer League, and hopefully that rhythm will find their way to them here in Las Vegas.
I understand in this day and age, especially organizations, whether it be the NBA or any other sport, be very cautious with players, specifically a guy who's taken in the top 10 of the draft. They want to be cautious with him. He had, as you mentioned, the little ankle, looked like he was going to go to the locker room, ended up saying, nope, waved off the trainer, went back into the game and played admirably. Missed the next 2 games. As you mentioned, that scheduling is just stupid, plain stupid, having 3 games in 3 days. But now you got Vegas. He's had time off. What is your, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to anybody about this and if they've divulged information or it's just a guess on your part, but what do you think we'll see as far as these 4 games of Zach Edey appearances?
I think, I don't have any reason to believe that this is taking him out of the mix for all of Las Vegas, right? So I'll start from that. that's based on, what I've seen and heard from Zach, and what I've seen and heard from, the coaching staff and the guys that are working with Zach. And so the expectation and, the planning is that he will be back, in Vegas. And if not tonight, then, you got another game on Monday. So, even if you're erring on the side of caution, even the most extreme caution, if you're saying it's a minor issue, just a slight tweak, then 7 days or 6 days between games seems like enough time to get enough treatment to give you a chance to go back out there. So based on that timeline, if he doesn't play tonight, you're looking at being a week away from the last time he played by the time you get to Monday's game, because he played last Monday. So that's just my logic. I think, unless it's something – now, if he doesn't play tonight or Monday, then it seems like you're going a little bit beyond erring on the side of caution. Now, having said that, historically, it doesn't take much for teams to shut down, particularly their starters and their frontline guys and their high drafted in Summer League. All it takes is maybe one tweak, and I've seen it happen time and time and time again throughout the league. So these teams all across Vegas today will be looking at it from that standpoint. Having said all of that, I do expect Zach Edey to play. The team and his teammates expect them to see him again at least a couple of times before Vegas is up.
Michael Wallace joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. He's in Las Vegas with the Grizzlies. They will play tonight, their first of 4 in the NBA 2K25 Summer League. They'll play the Sacramento Kings, 5 o'clock Central tip. You mentioned the struggles shooting the rock from the outside in Salt Lake City, other than maybe Spencer Wells at a good second game. But G.G. Jackson, who we have all fallen in love with, you think he's trying to do too much in the Summer League?
No, I don't think he's trying to do too much. I think that's just what his role is in the Summer League, which is not unlike what his role was, towards the end of last season, when he played from January on for the most part. He didn't have any of the Ja Morants. He had very limited Jaren Jackson Jr. Opportunities to play with him or Des McBain. Now, I think Gigi looked different, when you see him on the floor with Zach Edey versus when you don't. You know what I mean? I think the floor opens up a little bit. He was able to find his rhythm a little bit more in that second outing. He went 0 for 10 from three-point range in that Monday game. And, he didn't really find a way to get it going until, midway through game 3, because he's only played 2. So he played Wednesday and Monday. I don't think he's trying to do too much. The shots are there. And I also look at that, too, from Jalen Wells. His first game, he was 1 for 9 from the field. Then he started off 1 for 7 in the second game. And then he finally got it going from there. So they're just working out some of the kinks, the cobwebs, and finding their rhythm and finding their wins. They're also playing, when you're in Salt Lake City, you're also playing in some degree of elevation as well, too. So your conditioning is going to be an issue. And I think once you found that and you get past the frenetic nature of Summer League play, a lot of guys going up and down, a lot of loose balls, a lot of deflections, a lot of guys trying to impress their coaches by picking up 94 feet. And so you got a lot of that element to it, and it's not as much structure. But G.G. Jackson is a guy that's confident in every shot that he takes. And he told me after, his last game, he said, look, I'm not going to not take shots that are there for me. And it seems like when I don't take shots and hesitate, I get in trouble with the basketball. And sometimes he turns it over when he is trying to do too much. So I think he's just a natural scorer who wants to get in his natural element when it comes to that.
All right, as far as the roster is concerned, and a lot of moves that were made, including the draft picks. I was out of the country, but following along internationally. And now I'm asked the question on my show here the last couple of days about Luke Kennard. And the way I answered it was, I think they're going to figure out a deal, and he's going to be back. Is that your thought? And then, if so, does that complete the roster?
Well, before I answer your question, when you drop an international Anna out of the country without labeling where you went, man, that's only going to beg the question. Right. Where'd you go, Greg? Where were you, brother?
I was in Switzerland. I was in Germany. I was in Austria. I was in Italy. By the way, they love Ja Morant in Milan. Went to the NBA store, and they have a jersey of his in the front window, and then they had a little doll of his, and it had the old school Vancouver Grizzlies jersey on the doll. So 2 items of Ja right there in the front window in Milan. Yeah. But that's where I went almost 2 weeks. My wife and I had a ball.
That's fantastic, man. Hey, you know what? All of this stuff that we do is to create moments where we can spend with family like you just spent, right? Yes. So it's like, we have great jobs, man. We get to watch sports, evaluate sports, talk about sports, go to sporting events, and like Pat Riley used to always say to people, when I was around Pat Riley, we're actually living in the toy department of life in terms of the jobs that we have.
Well
right?
said.
So, but having said all that, man, God bless you and your wife for having that wonderful
Thank
trip
you,
and
Michael.
taking it. We definitely have to do more stuff like that while in the time that we have here on this earth, man. So, but having said that, though, the thing about Kennard, he's still unsigned. Like, he's one of the last guys that he's popping up on now, best available free agents list now. When you get to this, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel from most of the frontline guys already having deals, locked away. So what that tells me is that if there was a market out there where he just had a knockout offer, there's no reason for him to wait. There was an offer out there for him to get, let's say, $60 million over 4 years. I don't know how much longer a team is going to say, hey, Luke, we're waiting on you. Let's figure this out. So what that tells me is that the market and the numbers aren't necessarily where he was and he was going to try to be when the team opted not to take up his $14.8 million option. And this is just me speaking based on, being around the league, being around the agents, being around these guys for as many years as I've covered it. This isn't coming from the Grizzlies. But what I feel is that the longer that this goes, the more likely that he's coming back. And I think what's happening, what my guess would be, is that he's working and his agent is working with the Grizzlies at this point to say, okay, we're going to give you this much time to try to get to this number, and let's go from there. So now it's on the Grizzlies to figure out, can we move some players? Can we move another player or two to get you closer to what that number is that works for you? Do we need to stretch, a release and stretch maybe a guy here or there on the roster? Is there a trade that's going to happen once we get to Las Vegas where all 30 teams, all 30 GMs, and all 30 presidents are going to be? Is it easier to get those deals done face-to-face when everybody's sort of in one place? So I would suspect Vegas is the place where this is going to come to a head. And just from that timeline, I would expect something to be resolved with Luke Kennard one way or another in the next week to 10 days, if that, from the way the timeline goes.
I know there was a lot of talk pre-draft about the need for the big and the possibility that they could draft a big and still go out and get a veteran big somehow, some way. Well, as you know, they drafted the big in Zach Edey, and he's going to be a prominent part of the team. But do you think there is still the possibility of getting a veteran big, or do you think they're going to roll with what they have?
I think they're going to have to roll with what they have. There's certainly, if that's going to happen, it'll be closer to training camp. When you figure out, okay, who's going to be available on the veterans minimum, your pay sheet is going to look a lot more clear at that point as well too, in terms of what your salary cap and where you stand. And trying to when you look across the league right now, Greg, one thing that's startling to me is that in the previous couple of CBAs, they put so much work in making sure the mid-level exception was something that teams can use to help bolster their rosters.
Right.
Well, now when you put the apron rules in, a lot of teams can't even spend their mid-level exception. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's almost like the previous two collective bargaining agreements opened up the space and created a lane for CBA for mid-levels to be used, and teams can sign mid-career veterans to get them in. Sort of like the Grizzlies did with Tyus Jones, and you've seen several examples across the board. But now, those Tyus Joneses, those Luke Kennards who are right at that mid-level number, or for the most part around it, they can't get a lot of deals and long deals at this stage. So it's tough to spend right now. It really is. You got major guys getting the $40 to $50 to $60 million a year deals, and then you got guys basically on rookie scale contracts. This model is going to eventually look a lot like what NFL teams are doing, where the quarterbacks, the skill position guys, and the linemen and the edge rushers get all the money, and then everybody else has to get on these rookie scale deals and try to win. So the formula is changing dynamically in the NBA right now because of this new collective bargaining agreement, and I think they're going to have to put some relief elements in there to sort of ease teams out of these financial constraints that you get into when you overspend into the tax.
What team so far in this off season has made the most eye-popping move, in your opinion? Is it Paul George in Philly?
Yeah, to me, the two teams, and I say this time and time, I felt this way a week ago, and I still feel this way today. I think the teams that did the most to help themselves, and I think it's a clear-cut, I think it's clear to me. Like Philly, number 1, and 1A is Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
And they both did it in a way where, number one, it was shocking because Philly did it in a way where, like I remember, it reminded me of the way the Miami Heat did theirs when they got the big three, right? When they locked up 3 main guys, and then every one of these veterans wanted to come play for them around the edges. You know what I'm saying? So they got Tyrese Maxey locked in, Joel Embiid was locked in. Now they got Paul George, but then they also picked up Eric Gordon. They also picked up some other pieces. Kelly Oubre re-signed with them. So they have what they need. And this is the 3rd time Paul George has been in a place where he went to, and he's saying it's championship or bust. At a certain point, if he can't get it done in Philly, then he has to look in the mirror.
It's on
maybe
him.
He's not the player, right? Maybe he's not the player that he thinks he is and that he's being paid to be.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma City did it so organically. They're 2 years ahead of what their schedule was to be really, really good. They had the best record in the West last year, tied with 2 other teams. And they went out and spent and got Hartenstein. And they got, what's the guy from the Lakers? Now he was with Chicago, the guard.
Oh, gosh bless.
Yeah, his name is escaping me, man. But I know some people in their car driving around said the name 4 times by now.
Zach, who's Michael talking about here?
Yeah, but
I'm trying to see if Zach remembers.
Nah, that's cool. Yeah, but they Caruso, Alex Caruso.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I just talked about him yesterday. Okay.
So you got basically a bulldog to help you out run the show at guard, and you got one of the most productive bigs that we saw in the playoffs last year, and you already had a team that was number 1 in the West with the MVP candidate, role players still on rookie contracts who are stepping up, and they're ready. They are legit. So between Philly and Oklahoma City, those are the teams that I believe did the most to either solidify or put themselves firmly in the the championship.
You there, Michael?
I'm here.
Oh, look, it sounded like we lost you for a second. All right, final thing for you. The coaching staff, the changes. I knew there were going to be changes. We all knew there were going to be changes. And then I guess the changes came to fruition when they headed out to Salt Lake City. Again, I was away and didn't catch everything. And now I'm looking at, okay, who's now here, who's gone. What are your thoughts about the changes that have been made to Taylor's coaching staff?
Yeah, I mean, those things have been, long in the process, and the team was really, really, holding it close to the vest in terms of announcing, certain things and the attrition that happened with the coaching staff. I think first and foremost, what I'll say is, very, 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 very great guys, class gentlemen, class coaches, have transitioned on and had to move on, and a couple of them have been really close to me, and I've seen them. Brad Jones is a neighbor of mine, and I wish him nothing but the best. I mean, Vitaly Potapenko is a guy that's been with the Grizzlies through 3 different head coaches. And he's a veteran in the NBA. He's been around a long time, and is always an affable guy. He's a helpful guy. So when you talk about losing guys like Brad, Vitaly, Scooney Penn, just a real cool dude, man, and been around and worked his tail off. Blake Ahern, is a guy that I covered in the league when he made his way up from the G League at the D League at the time to get a roster spot with the Miami Heat several years ago. And then Sonia Roman, she came in with class and dignity, and obviously created a lane and continued to create a lane that was started by Niele Ivey when she came in.
Right.
As a female assistant on the Grizzlies staff. So those 5 people are remarkable people. They will have futures in this game, and some of them we'll hear from and see from in short order. So that's on them. That's the what I feel and I have to say about them. Now, when you look at what's coming in, there's a lot of innovative thoughts. There's a lot of segmented guys who specialize in certain things, aspects of offense, defense, development. When you're seeing that kind of addition to your staff from Joe Boylan, obviously who has NBA pedigree coming in. He's been around the league as an assistant. Patrick Mutombo, that name should be familiar. He was on Toronto's staff when they won a championship with Marc Gasol in the league as well, too. And then you just talk about some of the guys that came in. Thomas, I'm not going to pronounce his last name, but he just won
We're
a
trying to figure that
championship
out.
in Europe. Yeah, and you know what? I've seen him. He's been around, and he's one of the most, he's a joy to be around. He's always got a smile on his face. He's talking concepts with these guys and innovative offensive approaches. makes for a very, very brilliant coaching staff. And when you have the kind of dynamic players the Grizzlies have on the roster, all of these guys are young enough to still try to learn something new. And I think you're going to see it play out, especially with some of the dynamic pieces the Grizzlies have on the court. So, yeah, that coaching staff had to have a transition. Taylor Jenkins is going into year 5, year 6. And now you look up, he's one of the longest tenured, one of the top 5 longest tenured guys around. So sometimes change is inevitable when it comes to this. And, he had to make some changes, and he's made some changes. And we'll see what those changes come to fruition and lead to some more winning.
Tremendous insight from the great Michael Wallace, senior editor, contributor, and analyst for Grind City Media. You can follow him on Twitter at MyMikeCheck. Have a great weekend in Vegas and safe travels back home. I'm sorry I'm going to miss you, but it's always a pleasure talking Grizzlies and NBA with you, Michael. Thank you so much.
Hey, anytime, man. You guys take care, man. Talk to you guys later.
You too. He brings it. He's good. Been around a long time, knows the game incredibly well. Michael Wallace from Grind City Media. All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. Where are you heading this summer? You heading to the beach, to the lake, to the mountains? Anywhere you want to go. You're driving around this great country of ours. Drive in a beautiful vehicle from All-Star Chevrolet. And in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet, they have hundreds of new and pre-owned Silverados. Some mark 12% off invoice. Add up all the All-Star special discounts. You're getting a great deal. And check this out. Look for Costco member deals. If you're a member of Costco, you're getting some sort of deal. This is new to me, but it always helps. One sweet buyer's market right now, financing as low as 1.9%. No payments for 90 days. On a bunch of the new All-Star Chevys, nothing beats road trips and a beautiful new Tahoe. You get an extra $500 bonus if you're in healthcare, an educator, a college grad, military, if you're a first responder. No matter what pre-owned you're looking for, they have it there. Jeeps and 4Runners, Expeditions and Navigators, all the trucks that you may be looking for, they're in Olive Branch, and you can drive them all. Test drive them today. Bring any vehicle you want to sell. Get a big check from them. Don't miss All-Star Chevy's special summer sale. It's going on right now in Olive Branch. You can also check out these great vehicles online at allstarautogroup.com. When we come back, let's play 10 in a row. Let's give away a great prize package. 10 in a row is next. If you want to participate, hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255, the game show that has swept the nation. 10 in a row coming up next. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Getting engaged is one of life's most spectacular occasions. And when you find your ring at Sissy's Log Cabin, the promise of a lifetime begins with our promise to always provide unmatched quality, superior service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Find your dream engagement ring, wedding bands, and more when you shop Sissy'sLogCabin.com or stop by one of our 6 locations. Begin the rest of your life brilliant. Only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
College football season is approaching quickly, and that means it's time for SEC Media Days. Brett Norsworthy is broadcasting live from Dallas, Texas, Monday through Thursday, previewing the upcoming season and bringing you interviews with players, coaches, and SEC insiders. So tune into Sportstime with Brian and Brett, as well as throughout the rest of the day for SEC Media Days coverage on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. SEC Media Days is brought to you by First National Bank and Trust, Rules, Jim's Place in Collierville, your North Mississippi John Deere dealer, Wade Incorporated, the Commissary in Germantown and Collierville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Memphis Sports and Tourism Council, Ronnie Grisani's, and Jimmy McElroy and Associates. FM.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. And once again, Mark Gaston and Eli Support.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:32 is the time. Another big event starting, I'm not sure if it's today or tomorrow, but will run for over a week. Peach Jam. So there you go, Zach. Again, slow time of the year, yet there's a million things going on. I don't think there's ever a slow time in the world of sports. Scottish Open going on right now, but next week it's the Open Championship from Royal Troon. We'll be joined on Tuesday by our friend Steve Sands from the Golf Channel on NBC. Can Rory McIlroy bounce back from what happened to him at the U.S. Open and win a major? Long time in the making. Can Scotty Scheffler win another one? We'll talk to Steve next week, Tuesday, about the Open Championship. But again, Peach Jam going on, the future of college basketball, the future of the NBA. At least some of those players that will make it to that level performing in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina at Peach Jam. Right now it's time for 10 in a row.
Not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 in a row.
It's the game show that has swept the nation. It's 10 in a row. If you'd like to participate, you need to jump on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. 10 in a row is brought to you each and every Friday by our friends at Napa Cafe. Delicious food for lunch, for dinner, and the Owner's Box. If you're looking for sports in all the wrong places, you need to find the right place, and that's the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, exciting, friendly, and very comfortable. Wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games. All over the wall taps for all your favorite beers. They also have non-alcoholic, local craft beers. In front of the wall, they got the full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. You add in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place, the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Lunch specials every day, so 11 to 3, get on up to the Owner's Box and take advantage of great lunches, including sliders and quesadillas and salads and chicken wraps. It's Monday through Friday, 11 to 3 at the Owner's Box. All right, the prize package, Mr. Boyd, what are the folks playing for today?
Yeah, so speaking of Owner's Box, you get a 25 gift certificate to the Owner's Box.
Okay.
Also, a 25 gift card to Mugshots Grill and Bar, a couple of Malco movie passes, and then golf for 4 at Miramichi.
Golf for 4 at Miramichi, and I'm playing Miramichi today. You can win golf for 4 and then all those other prizes. Here is the question. Active Major League Baseball players who have appeared in 7 or more All-Star games. Active Major League Baseball players who have appeared in 7 or more All-Star games. I use 7, arbitrary number, but it constitutes basically the top 14, 15 guys. But again, these are all active Major League Baseball players. I'm not going to trick you with a player that's retired. So these are all active. If they have been to 7 or more All-Star games, it's a yes. If not, it's a no. 360-8255. The Sissy's Log Cabin lines are open to you if you'd like to participate. I'm not going to sit here all day and wait, so go ahead, look it up, do what you need to do, or just take a guess at it and try to win a great prize package, including golf for 4 at Miramichi. But again, it's active Major League Baseball players who have appeared in 7 or more All-Star games. And using the All-Star question, because the All-Star game is next week, Tuesday night in Texas will be the Major League Baseball All-Star game. Rosters never complete until the game is actually played, because Sunday there'll be pitchers that are going to throw that have been selected for the All-Star team, and once they throw, they're ineligible to play on Tuesday, so they will have to be replaced. So keep an eye on that as far as the rosters are concerned. Monday night is the Home Run Derby. The field is now set for the Home Run Derby, and that will be Monday night in Texas. So here we go, 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation, 360-8255. Active Major League Baseball players who have appeared in 7 or more All-Star games. We begin with Dan. Good morning, Dan.
Hey, Greg. How you doing? I'm glad you enjoyed your vacation.
Thank you very much, Dan. All right, active Major League Baseball players who have appeared in 7 or more All-Star games. Paul Goldschmidt.
Yes.
Trey Turner.
No.
Chris Sale.
Yes.
Jose Rodriguez.
No.
Max Scherzer.
Yes.
Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yes.
Close but no cigar. Thank you, Dan. 360-8255. The lines are wide open, the Sissy's Log Cabin lines. Anthony is next. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well, thank you. Salvador Perez.
Yes.
Pete Alonso.
No.
Jose Ramirez.
No.
Mike Trout.
Yes.
Aaron Judge.
No.
Nolan Arenado.
Yes.
Freddie Freeman.
Yes.
Bryce Harper.
Yes.
Mookie Betts.
Yes.
Corbin Burns.
No.
That's how you do it. Congratulations, Anthony. Good way to start your weekend off, right? We'll put you on hold. Yep, there you go. Put you on hold. Zach will get your information. That's how you do it. You got to get in early for 10 in a row. Again, we thank our great sponsors, Napa Cafe in East Memphis and the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square in Lakeland. We never got to, oh, we did. We got to both lists. The winner from the second list. Go back to the first list. Paul Goldschmidt was a yes. Trey Turner a no. Chris Sale a yes. Jose Rodriguez a no. Max Scherzer a yes. And then Fernando Tatis Jr. was a no. I think that's the one Dan missed on. We didn't get to Justin Verlander. That's a yes. Jose Altuve. That's a yes, and he's a starter in this year's game. Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves. That's a no. And Aaron Nola of the Phillies. That's a no. So the most, as far as active Major League Baseball players are concerned, as far as all-star appearances, Mike Trout. Mike Trout with 11. But Mike Trout will not be on the all-star team this year. He's hurt anyway. Aaron Judge, by the way, which was a little surprised when I looked this up, put this question together, only 6. So he comes up one short. This year's his 6th appearance, but he will have many more in the future. Others on the list, Verlander, Altuve, Salvador Perez, all with 9 appearances. You talk about a quiet Hall of Fame career, the catcher for the Royals, who the other day hit a home run in each game of the doubleheader against the Cardinals. Salvador Perez is really, really good. And then the guys with 8 that I used, I didn't use all the players, Chris Sale, Max Scherzer, Nolan Arenado of the Cardinals, Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper, and Mookie Betts. And then one with 7, and that is Paul Goldschmidt of the Cardinals. So there you go. That's 10 in a row. We'll do it again next Friday. We got one segment to go. When we come back, I want to get back to the question that Blake Topmeyer brought up about the SEC. And if Georgia is the odds-on favorite, who's favored to finish second right behind them? We'll talk about that when we return. If you got a question, a comment, hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
We're in the break room at a traditional jewelry store here. Hey, Mark, I know it's our job here to try and sell every piece of jewelry, but don't sell this ring. I'm going to try to use my employee discount to buy it for my wife.
Okay, but you know you can get a better deal at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds? Are you crazy? Better not let the boss hear it.
All I'm saying is I got a pair of diamond set earrings there for my wife and paid a lot less than what we charge here, even after my employee discount.
Wow. You never know who you'll see shopping at Genesis Diamonds. With no middleman pricing on the best selection of diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bands, and bracelets, it's a no-brainer. I admire your dedication to our jewelry store and not going to Genesis. I know the boss really appreciates your loyalty.
It's just the right thing to do, man.
And it's nice your wife won't mind getting a smaller diamond.
On second thought, can you cover me while I take a break?
Genesis Diamonds, the smart alternative to old-fashioned jewelry shopping. With more selection, lower prices, higher quality, stronger warranties, and zero pressure. At Poplar and Perkins Extended.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wallow said hello.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no-obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving. Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by James Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Grizzlies tonight open up the Vegas Summer League against the Kings at 5 o'clock Central. And don't hold your breath on seeing Devin Carter for the Sacramento Kings. He is gone. 6 months. He will be reevaluated in 6 months. He had left shoulder surgery to repair a torn labrum. 22-year-old who spent the past 2 years at Providence after transferring from South Carolina, was the 13th overall selection in the draft by the Kings, averaged 19.7 points, 8.7 rebounds, 3.6 assists this past season for the Friars. He was the Big East Player of the Year, but out minimum 6 months before he's reevaluated. Wow. I know somebody here is going to have a shoulder surgery. Not exactly the basketball player Devin Carter is, but certainly a big hit for the rookie to get his career started, unfortunately, under the knife. Also, if you missed this from yesterday, and I opened the show with this, my condolences to Lane Kiffin and the Kiffin family and the whole Ole Miss family after the passing of a legend, Monty Kiffin, the father of Lane, the mastermind of the Tampa 2 defense, one of the most respected defensive coaches in really the history of the game. Passed away at the age of 84. Has been living in Oxford after his retirement from football, and it was a long, storied career, but Monty passed away yesterday at the age of 84. So I was talking earlier about Blake Topmeyer and his story about the SEC. Blake, of course, covers the SEC for USA Today, is a friend of the show, has been on with us numerous times, and will be on with us, I think, in 2 weeks. But he made the case for 7 different schools to finish second behind Georgia. Now, that's assuming Georgia is the pick. Georgia will be the number 1 pick next week, I'm sure, after the media vote. Doesn't mean that they will finish as the SEC champions. But for the sake of this article, let's say they do. So Georgia's number 1. Georgia's a conference champion. Georgia would probably finish as the number 1 overall seed going into the playoff. But again, he's made a case for 7 schools in the SEC to finish second. How many schools will eventually be in the first playoff come December/January from the SEC? There's going to be multiple teams. Not sure exactly how many. But Texas, the newcomer, trying to hit the ground running. I don't think it'll be as easy for Texas as some people believe, even with this team. But it's not ludicrous that they can't win the whole conference or finish second. And in fact, out of the 7 schools that Blake mentions and makes the case for, Texas was the one he eventually goes with. He says the case for Texas, they returned ample production from last season's team that beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Let's not forget about that. And reached the college football playoff semifinals. Quarterback Quinn Ewers is established, and many teams would envy Texas's offensive line. The case against the Longhorns' SEC newcomer status adds an element of mystery. How will they fare in their new digs? Also, will Texas be as strong at wide receiver and defensive line as it was last season? Now, look, there are a couple of dogs in the conference. There's no question about it. But seriously, every week, week in, week out, playing SEC competition as opposed to Big 12 competition, there is a difference. But finishing second, even winning the conference, not out of the question. The case for Alabama, Nick Saban didn't leave a bare cupboard. Jalen Milroe returns as a dynamic quarterback, and working with Kalen DeBoer could enhance his development. DeBoer took Washington to the national championship game in year 2. So a second-place finish in year 1 at Alabama is realistic. The case against Alabama, a stout schedule. Alabama has a ferocious schedule that they will go up against. Also, Alabama faces more uncertainty surrounding its secondary, wide receivers, and backfield than usual. Ole Miss. The case for Ole Miss finishing second. The Portal King did it again. This transfer haul might be Coach Lane Kiffin's best yet. That includes several key plug-and-play transfers who will elevate the defense. Quarterback Jackson Dart enjoys a complement of offensive weapons. The schedule breaks reasonably well, too. The case against Ole Miss. Losses to Alabama and Georgia last season illustrated the gap that remained between being good and being really good. The transfer should improve Ole Miss, but enough for a second-place finish? ? Tennessee. The offense will remain dynamic. Redshirt freshman quarterback Nico Iamaleava. Look that up, how you pronounce his name. I like to say Nico Suave, but he is the real deal, according to Blake. The Vols enjoy one of the SEC's most favorable schedules. They possess more than enough firepower to outscore most opponents. The case against Tennessee, their overhauled secondary means the defense is something of a mystery. Also, UT flubbed winnable road games this past 2 years, and a September trip to Oklahoma could derail the Vols' avenue toward a top 2 finish. The case for LSU and Brian Kelly. Is Brian Kelly still the coach there? Yeah. Double check. The case, the offense remains in good hands as talented gunslinger Garrett Nussmeier takes the quarterback reins, and the defense can't possibly be as bad as last season, right? LSU's plunder of defensive coordinator Blake Baker from Missouri should elevate the unit. Most of LSU's toughest SEC games are at home. Case against, Nussmeier ought to be fine, but that doesn't make him Jaden Daniels 2.0. LSU must replace its top 3 weapons of what was the nation's best offense last season. That puts a lot of onus on the defense to be remarkably better.
All right, I got you.
Okay.
After 30 seconds of practicing and trying to pronounce his last name correctly. Nico Iamaleava.
Iamaleava.
Nico Iamaleava.
Iamaleava.
Close.
Huh? Is that right?
Iamaleava.
Iame. Say it again.
Ma.
That's ma. Okay. Then
Leava.
Iamaleava. So easy. That's why I'll continue to call him Nico. I don't know why I had a brain fart there that Brian Kelly retired. I don't know why that popped into my head. I had to double check. No, Kelly's there. Missouri, the case for Missouri. The Tigers received the kindest schedule of any team on this list. Brady Cook and Luther Burden form a formidable quarterback-receiver punch. Missouri ranks near the top of the SEC in terms of returning production. The case against Missouri, likely overachieved a bit during last year's 11-win season. It was fortunate to beat Kansas State and Florida. The departure of Cody Schrader, the SEC's leading rusher, can't be overlooked either. And then finally, his 7th team that you can make the case for second place in the SEC behind Georgia, Texas A&M. The Aggies cut loose the Jimbo Fisher anchor. That's probably what I'm thinking of. Jimbo Fisher, of course, is gone to Texas A&M. They return more production than any other SEC team, plus their 3 toughest SEC games, Missouri, LSU, Texas, are at Kyle Field. The Aggies are a strong candidate to be the SEC's most improved team. The case against Texas A&M, the Aggies could improve without climbing as high as number 2 in the standings. Quarterback Connor Wigman is returning from a broken foot. He's not as proven as the quarterbacks from other teams on this list. Also, the Aggies' offensive line must solidify. Again, his verdict, I'd pick Texas to finish second in the SEC behind Georgia. The Longhorns' offensive line is built for the SEC, and Texas returns enough production overall to remain at a high level after last year's college football playoff semifinal appearance. Again, that's his story. That's Blake Topmeyer and his reasoning to put Texas right behind Georgia. But Texas A&M, another reason not to pick them, they have underachieved seemingly every time since they've been in the SEC. No matter how good the team is looked at in the preseason, they have never lived up to expectations. And why? Well, a couple of reasons. One is the move to the SEC, for goodness sakes. And that's why I go back to Texas. With that weekly battle that they will have, it is much more you're much more challenged than you are on a weekly basis in the Big 12. With all due respect to the Big 12, week in and week out, it just doesn't hold a candle to what you get in the SEC. Like I said, a couple of dogs in the SEC, but for the most part, formidable. By the way, as we get ready to wrap things up, I know there was a lot of stories yesterday, a lot of rumors out there about the Clemson Tigers and Florida State Seminoles, and that there is no interest from the SEC. They closed that door, at least temporarily, but that the Big 12 has reached out. I have not seen anything from any of the big-name national college football writers, the well-respected national college football writers, about that. I think it's just a rumor out there. Sure, I would think that Yormark would love to strike again, and that would be big. And we know the situation with the suits going on. Florida State, Clemson, love to be able to get out of that long-term contract with the ACC. I just don't see anything here in the immediate future. As far as down the road a little bit, yeah, there's going to be something happening. Whether or not they can get out of those suits, that's a whole other question. But certainly that's something that's out there in Rumorville. I just haven't substantiated with hasn't been substantiated with anybody of prominence, in my opinion, as far as national college football writers are concerned. We want to thank John Varlas, Alex Coyle, Jonah Dillon, and Michael Wallace for joining us on the program today. We want to thank you for listening to the program, your calls, your texts. We always appreciate it. Coming up next, Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. I'll be back Monday with Zach. Eli will be off again on Monday. We'll talk some FedEx St. Jude Championship, which is right around the corner with Joe Tomek. Brett Norsworthy will begin SEC Media Days coverage in Dallas. We'll have him on Monday through Thursday at 8:05 talking SEC. We'll have some other guests as well. We'll get it underway 7 a.m. on Monday morning. Want to wish you guys a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. For the vacationing Eli Savoy, for Zach Boyd, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everybody.